presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the Lions.
Well, it's a very, very pleasant night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark. It's the opening game of this four-game series between the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. And tonight happens to be our telethon, raising money for the brand new Urban Academy here in Cincinnati. And we're giving you the chance to help us along the way. Judy Price, the manager's wife right there, even answering the phones. And we are looking forward to having you part of this very, very special night. He's a Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Delighted to have you with us on this Thursday night. Before we talk more about the telethon throughout the night, let's talk about the ball game. We saw David Holmberg one time earlier this year. He got kicked around a little bit, and due to the doubleheader on Sunday, he's back pitching tonight.
Well, Tom, I think you sometimes have to give a guy a mulligan. First appearance with a Reds ball club. He did have an appearance with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but this really is his third big league appearance. And I think for David Holmberg, there's a lot of redemption involved in tonight. And if he wants to be a part of this Reds organization, wants to be a guy that they can count on, tonight is a big start for him.
Meanwhile, the man who will oppose him on the mound, Julio Teheran, is having an outstanding season.
I can remember the game that he pitched against Johnny Cueto in Atlanta. He was automatic. He throws all the pitches. He's very aggressive. And the one thing about Teheran, he's only a one-year big league player, making his second time through the rotation. But Tom, this guy doesn't lose anything. He's still throwing the ball like he did on opening day.
Well, the Reds are hoping for better luck against Teheran here tonight. When we come back, Jim Day's going to tell you more about what we're trying to do here tonight. The Reds Community Fund Telethon. Stick around for that.
It is a very special broadcast of Reds baseball tonight. We are raising money for the Reds Community Fund, and namely the new Reds Urban Youth Academy. We are taking your calls right now, 513-765-7300. I'm Jim Day in the call center. My pleasure to welcome in Charlie Frank. He's the executive director of the Reds Community Fund, and the day is finally here, man. It's been a long time in the making to get to the ribbon cutting tomorrow. What a journey, what a commitment from the Reds ownership group. But how can people use this facility, and how can people get involved? Because it starts now, does it not?
It does. It starts tomorrow, like you said. I mean, we have our formal ceremony in the morning. It's going to be exciting with Commissioner Seelig and the mayor, the Castellinis, Reds players, Joe Morgan, Frank Robinson. So really an important day for us. But from 6 to 10 in the evening, it's a community party. You know, we're now full-time residents of the Bond Hill Roselawn neighborhood, and we want people to come out. We're going to have free food. We're going to have the Mystics performing a concert. We're going to have a Rozzi's fireworks show. So it starts tomorrow, and then it continues, and our programming begins in earnest this September.
It's very exciting that they can not only make a $100 donation tonight, but they can also get some very cool items back. The MVP bag.
That's right. You know, we want to give people an opportunity to start contributing now. I mean, you all are doing such a great job telling our story, and you're even taking some phone calls, so we appreciate that. We want to give people the opportunity to be motivated and inspired and to get involved. And this is a great way to make a contribution that's going to allow us to really take the next step. All right, we're closing in on the completion of the construction, and now the programming begins, and that's the challenge. I mean, we've done good programming for 5 years now. We've got this new facility to make it even better, and that's where we need help. And people can not only get involved, contribute, but then also get this great Reds package at the same time.
Charlie, we appreciate all your work. It's going to be a big night. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jim.
All right, that's Charlie Frank, the executive director of the Reds Community Fund. And stay with us. It's the Reds and Braves lineups and first pitch coming up on Reds Community Fund night on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio.
Plenty of rain across the area this morning. I think we're dry for the game tonight. Partly cloudy skies in general, 81, falling down to 76. But that dew point's going to be in the upper 60s, near 70, so it'll be muggy down there. Things aren't going real well, but a fresh, young pitcher on the mound tonight. You can always hope for a one-hitter, maybe a shutout. Really nice pitched game. Give it to me right here. Oh, yeah. Enjoy the game, everyone, on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, Mr. Hedrick, thank you very, very much, and we welcome you back to Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Reds have taken the field. The Atlanta Braves in town. Braves are 5 games over 500, and Freddie Gonzalez has his team right in the thick of things for the National League wild card. Let's take a look at his starting lineup presented by Meyer. Jason Hayward, Phil Gosselin, and Freddie Freeman. Freeman an all-star again this year and red hot right now. Has always done damage against the Reds. Justin Upton, Chris Johnson, Evan Gattis in the middle. Andrelton Simmons, B.J. Upton, and Julio Teheran, the latter third. Making his second start as a Cincinnati Red. He just turned 23 years old a month ago. Grew up at Port Charlotte, Florida, is David Holmberg.
Key tonight for Holmberg, Tom, not just command of the strike zone, but where his command is. It needs to be down in the strike zone. He's not an overpowering pitcher. If he can keep the ball down against this ball club, let this defense do some work, he's got a chance to win this ball game. But if he's up in the strike zone as he was against the Cubs, could be a long night.
Holmberg working on his third organization. He was a second-round pick of the Chicago White Sox just in 2009. Was involved in a huge trade along with Daniel Hudson going to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Edwin Jackson in 2010. And then part of that three-way deal, Ryan Hannigan was in that trade. Heath Bell involving the Reds, Arizona, and Tampa Bay. So Jason Hayward looks at a first pitch fastball, a strike, and this one is underway in Cincinnati. Hayward just recently moved back into that leadoff spot. He had found a nice home batting in a number 5 hole. That's where his season really took off. And since moving him back into the leadoff spot for a second time this year, he has carried that momentum into batting leadoff.
Not your traditional type of leadoff batter. For most clubs, Jason Hayward would be a 5-hole hitter. He's got some serious power. He's a big fella. He's a very intimidating presence at the plate. But for the Braves, they have no other choice at this point.
They tried B.J. Upton there for a while. He has just had a awful season. That's the only way to describe it, hitting barely over 200. And they gave him a 4-year deal worth a pile of money. Swing and a miss, and a good start on the breaking ball away from a left-handed batting Hayward.
Stay down in the strike zone. You use the breaking ball. You make the hitter a little more aggressive trying to get after that baseball.
One away for Phil Gosselin, getting the nod at second base tonight. And he takes outside for ball 1. Gosselin along with La Stella have been getting playing time at second base. For Gosselin, only his 19th game of the year with a major league club.
If you look at the numbers, Tom, La Stella actually, a left-handed hitter, hits left-handers better than Gosselin. But Gosselin defensively, he's been heads and tails above everybody.
Braves are 1 game behind the San Francisco Giants for the second and final wild card spot in the National League. There's a tapper to the shortstop. And Santiago getting the start over there tonight. Throws out Gosselin. 2 up, 2 down for Holmberg. We look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealer. And a number of changes from what we've seen over the last handful of days. Schumacher, his first start in quite some time. Santiago is at short. Pena again at first, and Mesoraco there hanging the signs for David Holmberg. 2 up, 2 down. Freddie Freeman the batter. Reds come in 5 games under the 500 mark. And despite this stretch they have been in, it's incredible that they're at least still on the fringe of the wild card race. He doesn't have that feeling, that's for sure, that they're involved in any kind of a playoff spot hunt. But 6 games is 6 games. Good, bad, or indifferent.
It is possible to make up a game a week with good play. And you got 6 of them to go.
Holmberg hitting Freeman with that pitch, so he is a 2-out base runner. Holmberg for the first time will work out of the stretch and faces left fielder Justin Upton. Upton red hot. RIGS bringing the energy, and that's what he's been doing for the Braves. An 11-game hitting streak, nearly a .380 batter with 15 runs batted in. During the 11-game stretch, he has 81 batted in overall this year.
A .322 hitter against left-handed pitching with 9 of his 24 home runs.
Upton is the player that is most frequently compared with Reds right fielder Jay Bruce. They came in the same draft. They're almost exactly the same age. They were both drafted out of high school. Bruce out of Texas and Upton out of Norfolk, Virginia. Upton made a bigger impact initially than Bruce, going back to 2008. Came up originally in 2007. He had 26 home runs and knocked in 86 runs in 2009. His best year came in 11. And they've been pretty much running neck and neck in home runs and RBIs as their careers have moved forward. Although this year there is no contest as to which player is having the better season. Upton at .287, 24 home runs and 81 runs batted in.
Upton has pretty much been a fixture in the number 4 spot for the Braves from the get-go.
Holmberg ahead of Justin Upton. Freeman not a base stealing threat. He only has 1 all year long. He's been thrown out twice.
Upton, one of those hitters, Tom, that if you make a mistake, doesn't matter if it's in, out, up, or down. That's the ball that he is going to hammer.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Justin Upton. And a breaking ball. Not a bad pitch. Pretty good location here. Just off the inside corner.
Do you make a mistake to a normal hitter, they get a single. Maybe a double. This guy, he puts a run on the board. And in this situation, it would be 2.
Runner goes and the pitch is in the dirt. That gives you an idea about really a lack of any kind of a move by Holmberg. Freeman never runs.
Well, not only the move, Tom, but he's very slow to the plate. David Holmberg, the big leg kick. Everybody in H dugout has a stopwatch. If you're 1-4, 1-5 to the plate, which David Holmberg is, everybody can run. Gotta tighten that up.
Oh, 3-2 now, and it's ball 4. So there's an at bat that got away from Holmberg. He got in front. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Upton. So with 2 away, a hit batsman and a walk will continue the inning for right-handed batting third baseman Chris Johnson. Understand Jim Day is already taking calls up in our call center. Take a look at that. 765-7300. That is locally at 513-765-7300, or you can log on to reds.com/telethon. And again, we'll tell you what's involved. We'll take any kind of donation and be extremely grateful for it. And if you're able to give up to $100, oh my, you've hit the lottery here tonight, including a couple of tickets to an upcoming game.
Well, I think that donation is not going to the Reds. It's going to children all over the city of Cincinnati, and I think that's where your priority has to be.
0-1 to Johnson, and it's off the inside corner, of ball and a strike. When they officially open that Urban Academy tomorrow, right around the corner from the Cincinnati Gardens over on Seymour Avenue, Cincinnati will be only the 4th city in the United States of America that will be home to a Major League Baseball Urban Academy. The very first one opened 8 years ago in Compton, California. They have another in New Orleans. Philadelphia is about to open one here very, very soon. But Cincinnati is right there. So we should be very proud indeed. And not only the Reds Community Fund, but their great partners over at Procter & Gamble. 1-1 pitch. Straight up in the air. And this should end the inning. Schumacher underneath it, and it does. So a much better start for Mr. Holmberg here tonight. A scoreless first. We'll get a look at Julio Teheran when we come back. Sports Ohio brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Ooh, we're back in town and feeling good. That means it's Skyline time.
You got that right.
I'll be taking the kids there tomorrow for lunch.
Let me get 4 chili cheese coneys, 2 dogs, no onion, extra mustard, and soak 'em. And 3 bags of chips.
Those little crackers. You like those things, don't you?
I do like the crackers.
Brian Price's starting lineup tonight brought to you by Mile. Hamilton, Frazier, Phillips in a 3-hole tonight. Jay Bruce down in the cleanup spot. Devin Mesoraco about 5th. Brian Pena hit 6. And the latter third of Santiago, Schumacher, and Holmberg against 11-game winner right-hander Julio Teheran.
That's about as normal as we've seen a Reds lineup in a while. Normal being without Joey Votto. Julio Teheran, you have to hope that the Reds have learned something after the start back in Atlanta. That was way back earlier in the year. He is a strike throwing machine.
176 innings this year for Teheran. He's only allowed 152 hits. And the league batting a measly .233 against him. Billy Hamilton quickly behind 0-2.
Well, what we saw from Teheran in Atlanta, Tom, a lot of hard stuff the first time through the lineup, and then as the game went on, we really started to see the changeup and an over-the-top curveball.
Teheran to the plate and a swing and a foul ball back out of play. It's still nothing in 2 on Billy at .269. 6 home runs and 43 runs batted in.
If you watch Teheran, he really short arms the ball. The ball almost comes out of his right ear. And sometimes it appears it's coming out of the hat, and it's a little deceptive.
Breaking ball just off that outside corner.
Watch right up here as the ball comes out, right out of the back of the hat. So you've got to really concentrate on release point as a hitter.
Hamilton lifts a fly ball into right field. That'll be playable for Hayward, and that's out number 1 in the Reds inning number 1. Take a look at the Reds opponent on defense tonight. Presented by your Ford dealer. They have the Upton brothers, Justin and BJ. BJ the older of the 2. Hayward out in right. Talked about Goslin, an excellent defender at second base. Simmons has had a rough couple of weeks. He hurt his ankle. He had some problems with some of his teeth, strangely enough. Had to have a couple of those taken out. Made a throw from the outfield on a cutoff play and felt a tweak in his shoulder, but he's in there again tonight. Breaking ball, strike one to Todd Frazier. Frazier really swung the bat well in St. Louis, despite the fact that he had missed 3 days there in Denver. He is really hurting. Talked to him last night before we got on the plane, but he feels good at the plate. There's a line drive caught by Justin Upton. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, you expect nothing less from a guy like Todd Frazier. Team first, game on. Probably the biggest encourager that I've seen around Major League Baseball today for his teammates. Even when he was hurt, Tom, on the top step, clapping, trying to get everybody going, even in those crazy games in Colorado. And his back is locked up, and he's playing anyway.
So now Brandon at 269, 7 home runs and 40 runs batted in. So here's another guy swung the bat well. After the very first night when he went hitless, he drew a walk his final time up that night. But in game 2 he had a hit, made an out on a rocket line drive to short, and then last night he hit the ball extremely hard his last 3 times up. Lined out to right, he had a single, and then they gave the second baseman Colton Wong an error that Phillips hit, and I mean that ball almost knocked him over.
One thing you have to remember when you miss time and you come back, the speed of the major league game, you have to get back into that groove.
We're hoping to have Bob Castellini with us in the second inning to talk about the Reds Community Fund and the money we're trying to raise here tonight. Orders can be placed online at reds.com/telethon or over the phone. Reds Community Fund has helped renovate more than 400 baseball fields going back to its advent when the Castellini Group initially bought the Reds team, and supports more than 700 youth baseball and girls softball teams. But it's so much more than that. So much more. Especially this P&G MLB Urban Youth Academy. 1-2 on Brandon Phillips. Breaking ball taken low.
You know, I'm under the understanding, Tom, that this is the biggest outlay of money for a community outreach project of any professional franchise ever. I mean, we're talking in excess of $7 million for this Urban Youth Academy. I mean, that is unheard of.
Yep.
Reds, in conjunction with a few of their city partners, including P&G.
There's a fly ball down the right field line over near the stands, and Freeman has room, and that will end the inning. So Mr. Castellini will indeed join us in the second inning. He's very excited about what we're doing here today. We want you to be excited about it. That and more when we come back. Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati, and a pleasure to be joined by Mr. Bob Castellini. And nice to see you again, young man. You doing all right?
Great to see you, Tom.
How's everything?
Jeff, great to be with you, fellas. Doing a good job here.
Well, thanks
for having us.
You know, Bob, and Jeff said it to you when we were in the commercial break about really when your ownership group took over the franchise, and you know, whether it's the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum and what we saw here a couple of weeks ago with all those Hall of Famers back, bringing so many of the players back into the Reds family, but then making Reds fans, the caravan that got started, that all of a sudden we were talking about it on the air last night. We're going, you know, all over Indiana and all over West Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky, and went to Tennessee last year for the first time in a long, long time. But you've not only tried to bring back all the players and making them feel like family, but the Reds fans to feel like family and giving back. I would imagine this Urban Academy, along with everything the Reds Community Fund is doing. I don't want to ask you about creating a legacy, because that would imply that, you know, it means more to you than maybe somebody else. But it sure does mean a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does, yeah. Yeah. We had 5,600 kids through the last 2 years in the old Cape High School in Winton Terrace. And now we have a brand new 33,000 square foot facility that'll be year round. And first of all, we need kids to start playing baseball more. We're losing a lot of kids to other sports, and also to the clickers. Yeah. And this is especially dedicated to our inner city population, but it's for everybody. And to me, the All-Star game is really wonderful, and we're so proud to have it. But the commissioner was also good enough to enable Major League Baseball to give us a big donation, and along with P&G and Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, the city of Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Recreation Committee, and many more many more partners really made this thing possible, and it will outlive it'll be here for the next All-Star game.
Bob, you guys have gone above and beyond the call of duty, going out into the community. I mean, you look around at other professional franchises, and I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever. Nobody has done what the Reds are doing right now in their community. I mean, this is massive.
Well, that's nice of you to say, Jeff. You know, don't forget, we've got 10 generations behind the Reds. 15 years is a generation. We're just about at 10 generations. And it's got a huge following that goes, you know, if you're lucky to have five generations living today, they're all Reds fans. And passionate. And passionate. And these fellas down there on the field, and those that manager and those coaches in the dugout, Walt and his staff, have made the Reds relevant again. And it's very exciting to be a part of it.
Procter & Gamble has been one of the institutions. You talk about generation after generation, and what they have meant to this city and what they've meant to, you know, really all over the world. But obviously getting them involved, I mean, you talk about bringing the heavyweights of Cincinnati between the city, some of the players you talked about, Bob, all that you and your ownership group have done, and then P&G coming in on this saying, wow.
Yeah, people don't realize what a great community asset P&G is. Every year, their entire marketing department give about 5,000 hours to a ball field project.
Volunteer hours.
Volunteer hours.
With no pay, just get it done.
And that's absolutely correct. And Jody Allen is, I call her St. Jody. She and her group have really done a terrific job for us.
1-2 on Andrelton Simmons, and that ball is hit hard into left field, and the Braves have a 1-0 lead on the home run by Andrelton Simmons, his 7th of the year.
I'm bringing bad luck up here, fellas.
No, you're not. He just left the curveball up a little bit. He'll be all right.
This is an important series for us. We really got to turn this thing around.
You're living and dying every night, aren't you?
Yep. You know how it goes, Tom. And this Atlanta team has had their troubles, and now they're coming back, and it's time for us to come back.
That's what we were talking about tonight. You know, there might be some out there that are saying, you know, the Reds, they had their chance, whatever it might be. But the bottom line is, you know, with 6 weeks left to go in the season, and Cowboy and I were talking, it's still only 6 games. It's not like it's 14 or 18 or 22, and there are teams facing that kind of challenge right now. and you don't want to be in that spot. But if somehow, some way, you find a way to rip off 6 out of 7 on this homestand, and who knows?
Yeah, I've shared this with the commissioner in private. I think that his legacy, the greatest thing he's accomplished, is the wild card. It keeps 8 or 10 more franchises on the edge of their seats for the month of September, and we're just not that far away. And these players know it, and they don't have their heads down. They're out there making it happen, trying to make it happen.
The big key, Bob, is that the Reds are facing the teams that they have to climb over. So they have the opportunity. Now it's a matter of getting it done.
Ball in the air to deep right center field, and Billy Hamilton back there to get it. Before you get out of here, Mr. Castellini, you know, one guy who's been right there with you, and you made a point when the opportunity arose to really bring him back as a big part of this franchise, is Joe Morgan. And I know he's been a huge mover in everything that has gone on as far as any kind of community outreach is concerned.
Well, people don't realize how important to baseball Joe is. He's one of the most knowledgeable still people in and around the sport. He's one of the great second basemen of all time. He's the chairman of the board, vice chairman of the board, or chairman of the board of the Hall of Fame, and he's an integral part of this franchise. And what a lot of people don't know also is that he was very instrumental in getting Major League Baseball to give us the big donation that got this thing started. And once that happened, and P&G came in, and then our community fund, we really were able to put it all together. So Joe is he's a huge part of what's going on tomorrow in the Urban Youth Academy opening.
When he speaks, folks listen.
I agree. I
really
agree,
do.
Jeff.
And it doesn't matter if it's players or executives. He speaks, they listen.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, he's a guy, really, you look back just on his entire career, and if you had to have a resume, oftentimes for some of the players, their resume starts and ends with being a player. With Joe, it didn't end there, and his involvement, of course, with so many different franchises. As a businessman, he was a part of it. We'll talk to him a little bit later. Mr. Castellini, keep up the great work.
Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely.
Nice to be with both.
We're so excited about tomorrow. Commissioner of Baseball will be on hand as we launch the Urban Academy right here in Cincinnati tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Great American Ballpark here in the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day up here in the Riverfront Club. It is the call center. We are having you help us out tonight. It's the Reds Community Fund night, benefiting not only the Reds Community Fund, but the brand new Urban Youth Academy. And here's how you can get involved. For a $100 donation, we're going to give you an MVP bag, complete with a drawstring backpack with the Urban Academy branded on it, a Joe Morgan replica mesh jersey, Reds branded Louisville Slugger mini bat, a May 4th walk-off win canvas print, your choice of a Billy Hamilton bobblehead or a Homer Bailey bobblehead, and 2 tickets to a future game. Your choice. Cardinals game, Brewers game, or Pirates game. Here's what you do. Call 513-765-7300, 513-765-7300, or you can go online. Log on to reds.com/telethon, and you can help out the kids in Cincinnati and the tri-state area. I'd love to hear from you. Let's go back to the booth.
All right, Jim Day, thank you very much. And we're going to continue to talk about this all night long. I know many of you remember the old Cape High School, the Cincinnati Academy of Physical Education. I mean, they were the most dominant high school football program in the state of Ohio, Division II.
What's the name of it?
Cape, C-A-P-E. Carlos Snow came out of there. Turned out to be a great running back at Ohio State, played in the NFL. Vinnie Clark was on that same team that won 3 straight state championships at Cape. Steve Sheehan, if I remember correctly, was a head coach. I was going up there all the time.
I remember Carlos Snow.
5 games. Yeah.
He could shake and bake a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And Vinnie Clark played in the NFL for over a decade. So that is where the new Urban Academy is, right there off of Seymour Avenue, probably no more than a block or 2, if that, from the Cincinnati Gardens. Atlanta with a 1-0 lead on a solo home run by Andrelton Simmons. As Jay Bruce, Devin Mesoraco, Brian Pena will bat against Julio Teheran here in the 2nd inning. Bruce, a .224 batter, has 14 home runs and 55 runs batted in. Joe Morgan will be joining us a little bit later on here in the broadcast booth. Can't wait to have him. He really is the driving force, along with Mr. Castellini, along with help from Procter & Gamble, obviously, in Major League Baseball. That one stung, but right at B.J. Upton, one away.
Did he say 5,000 volunteers? I mean, there's a tremendous amount of volunteer hours that go into putting on something like that. It's not just P&G. There's some other partners in the community. But, I mean.
And they have education partners and programming partners there. The University of Cincinnati, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, Tri-Health, Cincinnati State University, Dress for Success. There are others.
It is a true community effort.
Yes, it was, including building the project. Kokosing Group, that was a general contractor, MSA, Mike Schuster, Holdhouse, Lackner Signs, and many more to get it finished ahead of schedule. I was there the day they got their final occupation permit about 3 weeks ago. But they still had some things to finish up before the big opening tomorrow. It is incredible over there. I'm telling you, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I was wondering why I hadn't seen Charlie Frank a whole lot. He's the head of the Reds Community Fund. Big fella's been working.
Yes, he has. We're looking for your help if you're able. We'd love to have it. Swing and a miss. Mesoraco out on strikes, 2 away for a strikeout for Teheran. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign out by the Power Stacks tonight, Anthony Forshee from Fairfield, Ohio, will win the beautiful new Tundra that is on display every day here at Great American Ballpark. And you can register for your chance to win during an upcoming game to stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer.
Now, if you want to hit that truck, that's 503 feet away.
The truck?
You better come on with it.
Now, you know what? You bring up something interesting here that I've never heard of. You know, we always talk about if you hit the Toyota sign in right center, which is closer. I got to believe if a Red were to hit that Toyota sign out in left center, they're still going to give away that truck.
I think so. They might give away 2.
You better be careful.
One for you, one for your wife. That's a far piece right there.
Well, you're not lying. One and one to Brian Pena with 2 down and nobody on. Reds looking for their first base runner against Tehran. And a fastball. Boy, that's a good pitch right there.
You know, to get a ball that far, Tom, you would have to have the velocity of a Chapman. You see the velocity of Tehran there right on the inside corner. You'd have the velocity of Chapman and the power of, say, a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, and just perfect contact. And then you have to have a little radar to go with it. Talk about, you were talking about Frazier hitting the ball well. This guy has been money. He swung the bat so well in St. Louis and got nothing to show for it. 6 different times he hit line drives and he was out. Everyone talks so much about what a nice guy Brian Pena is and his outgoing personality, and he is that and then some, but he is a competitive son of a gun.
Popped up into short left center field, and the shortstop Simmons to get it. 6 up, 6 down for Julio Tehran. 1-0 Atlanta at the end of 2. Game storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Most quality starts this season. These are 2 of the very best. The Atlanta Braves have 88 of them. The Reds have 80. The Brewers, surprisingly, in between those 2. And then the Dodgers, you would expect that.
Check out the records. You get a quality start. If you're a Red, you win.
How's that hot dog? I mean, you know you're a big leaguer when the owner of the team walks in. Hey, can I get you anything? And, like the rest of us, no, that's okay, that's okay. Cowboys like, boy, hot dog sounds pretty good right now.
Boy,
I couldn't resist. You know what I mean?
Pull my chain. You got me.
That one taken inside to Jason Hayward, leading things off in inning. Sure, Bob, I'll have a hot dog. Can you make that happen? Two and 2 to Hayward, who struck out his first time up. I could go for some of that skyline. I know it's down in the first level from here. And somebody's got to haul that up here 3 levels and make sure you get your 3-way.
Well, that's why I didn't say skyline, because that's sure what I was thinking about.
Pulled the string on him a little bit right there. Nicely done on a 3-2 pitch. Holmberg retired the first 2 batters. He hit a batter, walked a batter, but got Chris Johnson on a pop-up to end the first innings. A 1-out solo home run by Andrelton Simmons, the game's only run. There's a broken bat pop-up, short left, and Schumacher, did he get it? He got it. What a play by Skip Schumacher. It looked like initially he wasn't going to get there, and by golly, he did.
Well, it took everything he had to get there. And you got to think that somewhere in the back of the mind of Skip Schumacher, every once in a while, that dive is a flashback to the shoulder injury that he had earlier. That ball looked like it hit the ground, Tom.
Well, the question is, are the Braves going to appeal it? The runner is staying at first base, and the Braves are saying, let's have a look at that.
Doesn't take away from the great play, but as we've seen in all of these replays, there has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn.
So this play is under review. The call on the field is an out.
You know, at first glance on the replay, I thought it hit the ground. Now, after I've seen it now 7 times, I'm not sure that it didn't hit the back of the glove. Check it out. More times than not, if the ball changes direction, it ends up being a hit. That ball didn't appear to change direction. Now, I couldn't tell perfectly whether the ball caught grass or not, or whether it caught the tip of the glove. Very difficult to see there.
And I think that you made the key point, perhaps in the verdict, which we are ultimately going to find out. Is there enough convincing evidence to say this should be overturned? I don't think there is.
Because the call on the field takes precedence. The only way to overturn that call is clear and convincing evidence contrary to that.
Well, they're taking a long look at this from multiple angles back in New York City.
Yeah, this is a tough call here.
So it'll either be confirmed, that would be an out, stands, which means there's no clear and convincing evidence to confirm or overturn the call, which I bet you that's going to be the outcome here. It's going to stand.
Here we go. Wow.
They overturned it. I'll be darned. So a bloop single in the short left field off the bat of Jason Hayward, and he is a base stealing threat. He has 14 of them and has been thrown out 4 times.
To be honest with you, Tom, I've been surprised more times than not at some of the calls that have either been overturned or that have been left the way they were called on the field.
Now, we saw Freddie Freeman steal second base back in the first inning without so much as a throw. He got such a good jump.
And this guy could run.
Gosselin grounded out to the shortstop his first time up, and that's off the inside corner. Pat Holberg calling the balls and strikes here tonight. Scott Berry at first, Mark Carlson at second, and Jeff Nelson is the umpire at third. Holberg will have to hurry to get that out at first. Not going to get it. That is a bunt single.
And a good one at that. Did not show bunt until the last second. Kept the barrel of the bat above his hands and just put it in a perfect spot. See the hands come back, the little drop step. That's money right there.
So now Freddie Freeman, he was hit by a pitch, barely grazing his jersey with 2 outs and nobody on in the first inning. 2 on, none out. Atlanta already leading 1-0. And Holmberg with work to do. Good pitch there. Inside corner, strike 1.
The key with any order, especially this Braves order, getting guys on in front of Freeman, Upton, and really Evan Gattis, even though Evan Gattis is hitting behind Johnson. Because with one swing of the bat, they can do some major damage.
You know, it's interesting that the Braves are often lauded as being, you know, this powerful team. And they're really not. They have 105 home runs, which is the total on the year. Now, that's 6th in the league. But I mean, it's not like there's some juggernaut from a power standpoint that they just bludgeon you to death like some other teams. We've seen capable of doing that.
They're not consistent. And when they face really good pitching, the strikeout numbers mount dramatically. But they can beat up on some folks now.
I mean, to give you an idea, the Reds have scored more runs this year than the Braves have scored. And we know the problems the Reds have had on offense. In fact, there are only 3 teams in the league that have scored fewer runs than the Atlanta Braves. San Diego Padres, the Chicago Cubs, and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now Holmberg is in a load of trouble. As he has walked Freddie Freeman to load the bases with none out. Bench coach Jay Bell down there with Freddie Benavidez. To the right of manager Brian Price. And to find a way here. Big swing and a miss on a first pitch fastball. Holmberg's a youngin. We talked about he just turned 23. And although he has not had a good year this year, even at the minor league level, boy, the Diamondbacks were certainly very high on this young man.
I was not ready to pitch in the big leagues at age 23. I can tell you that right now.
Brewers are off tonight. The Cardinals are off tonight. The Pirates are off tonight. 1-1 account on Upton. That one sails high. Certainly Holmberg has to limit damage in this inning with them loaded and nobody out. It started with a little blue pip to left field. A bunt single followed by Gosselin. And then a walk to Freddie Freeman. Braves already leading Holmberg and the Reds 1-0. 2-1 to Justin Upton. Base hit left field. And that will plate a pair of runs, and the Braves lead 3-0.
Justin Upton provides us with our Mazda pitch by pitch. Fastball, a swing and a miss, up and away. Came back inside, missed up again, and tries to cut one to the plate. He leaves it over the heart of the plate. And Justin Upton has made a living off that type of pitch.
And the hitting streak for Justin Upton goes to 12 games, and during the 12 games he has now knocked in 17 runs. That is doing it. Reason to smile. Chris Johnson to bat it. First and second, still nobody out. 2 runs home here in the Atlanta third. And a swing and a foul ball back out of play. But of course tonight is our Fox Sports Ohio Reds Community Fund Telethon. Raising money to continue to fund all the outreach programs. They've already paid for the building out there, but there's so many things that the Reds Community Fund, Major League Baseball will be responsible for. Procter & Gamble, of course, the title sponsor on the Urban Youth Academy, only the 4th of its kind in the United States of America, and we invite your calls, and if you're able, your donation. Jim Day is standing by in the command center. We give it that number again at 513-765-7300. That's 513-765-7300. Reds Community Fund not only doing so much for those here in Cincinnati, but all over Reds country. All over Reds country. Kentucky.
Of the Reds, and this is not why they do it, but to be able to reach out, not just in the inner city of Cincinnati, but in the entire Reds nation, for children and their families to get accustomed to the game of baseball and allow their children to play baseball. And let's face it, Tom, basketball, you just need a ball and a hoop. Football, you just need that football. Baseball, that's a whole different category. You got to have a big old field. You got to have gloves. You got to have balls, bats. And in a lot of cases, you got to have the money to run the electricity for the lights. Much more expensive to try to play the game of baseball. But there are plenty of athletes out there that don't have that opportunity, and the Reds are trying to create the opportunity with what they're doing with this Urban Youth Academy and all they're doing in Reds country.
2-2 on Chris Johnson, and a high fly ball in the deep left center field, and that one is up against the wall. One run is going to score. They're going to hold up to. They weren't sure if that ball would be caught or whether it would leave the ballpark. It's an RBI double by Johnson to make it 4-0, and there's still nobody out.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could not have caught that ball. It hit just below the yellow line out by the 379 sign. Up and out over the plate. He hit that baby right on the nose.
And now Jeff Pico will come out for a visit. A few bodies beginning to stir around in that Reds bullpen. The Reds made a roster move very late in the afternoon today. You know, Cowboy, it's been a very rough stretch for right-hander J.J. Hoover after that great year he had in 2013. And we know about what has happened this year. He has 10 losses, and he had a good outing last night, which was nice to see. But he is on his way back to the minor leagues, and they have brought up Pedro Villarreal.
This is not punishment for J.J. Hoover because he's 1-10. It is to allow him to get himself right before the rosters expand in September. Give him an opportunity to pitch on a regular basis every other day in AAA before their season ends. Get himself back to what we saw last year, and he was very dominant last year. But he never got in a rhythm. From day one, it was never a rhythm. And you look at the starting pitching for the Reds, when you've got guys going 7 innings almost every night, then Broxton, then Chapman, some of those guys in the bullpen don't get to pitch very often. And I've been one of those guys. Repetition is what helps you be at your best, whether you're an everyday player, bench player, bullpen. that repetition is what gets you going. And when you're sitting, things get a little ugly.
Reds also sent Carlos Contreras back to the minor league. There's a fly ball in the deep right field. This will be deep enough to score Upton. Throw will go into third base, and it's a 5-0 game on a sac fly run batted in from Evan Gattis. Right now you can tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during an upcoming game. It's brought to you by AT&T.
Looks like Pedro Villarreal is throwing in the Reds bullpen.
Well, now Simmons, who homered his only time up, found the seats in left field. Number 7 on the year for this young Atlanta shortstop. 1 in the second, 4 so far here in the third. Runner at second with 1 away in the inning. And a 5-0 Atlanta lead. That ball blasted into deep left center field, and Schumacher will run it down. That's a nice catch by Skip Schumacher. 2 down in the inning. Real nice play.
Right up against the wall. Full speed run.
So now they're going to intentionally walk the number 8 hitter, B.J. Upton, and they'll face the pitcher with 2 outs and 2 on. Of course, all of this a direct result of the water main break in Denver, Colorado last Saturday, forcing a doubleheader on Sunday.
You're talking about the stress on the bullpen.
Well, and the start here tonight by Holmberg, because Axelrod threw the ball pretty well that night for the Reds in the second game of that doubleheader. Only allowed a couple of runs pitching into the 7th inning. And he would have been the guy just to stay with the team in place of the DL'd Homer Bailey.
Yeah, I thought Axelrod threw the ball well. And I would imagine we'll see his name again.
Swing and a miss by Tehran. He struck out his first time up. You think Bailey comes back, Cowboy, when his time is ready, or you think it may be a little longer than that? Tough to tell.
Longer.
Longer. All right. Saw Homer. He brought out the lineup card actually for the Reds tonight, along with a youngster who was lucky enough to join him, taking out there tonight to the umpiring crew.
The reason I say longer is not because I don't think Homer's working hard or wants to be back out there. I think that from an organizational standpoint, for a guy that you've got a huge long-term contract with, you got to make sure he's right. And pitchers have a tendency, as position players do, you want to get back, you want to play, and you're not quite there yet. And if you're not quite there yet, then you're going to go backwards. You want your guy to get back out there, be on his game, and get it ready to go. I mean, we saw Jonathan Broxton a year ago with a very similar injury that Homer Bailey has, that flexor mass tendon. He pitched and pitched and pitched and kept on pitching until he could not even straighten out his elbow, and he ultimately had to end up having surgery. You don't want to go down that road. Sometimes, as old Barney says, you got to nip it in the bud. I know you play.
Barney.
Barney Fife.
Yes, I know. I know. You know, I used to.
I think he has just hit the pitcher.
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding. He's looking for help. The first base umpire. I've never seen an umpire ask for an appeal.
Well, the problem here is that Turan started to swing and the bat came on through, but there really was not a swing, and that's what first base umpire Scott Berry was saying. There was no swing. He was just trying to get out of the way of the baseball, and the bat just happened to do what it did.
So they walked intentionally the number 8 hitter B.J. Upton to get to the pitcher, just to get out of this inning. And now all of a sudden you're facing the man who led off the inning with that little bloop single into left field. It was initially ruled an out, but replay overturned the call, allowing Jason Hayward to reach first base safely.
10th Atlanta batter to come to the plate.
'40th pitch of the inning, and it's a strike, 1-1. I was starting to tell you, you mentioned Barney Fife. I used to work every summer bagging groceries, and
you
working in a grocery store down in North Carolina in the summertime, living with my grandparents. You know, he used to come in 3 days a week and lived in the town. There's Andy.
Andy Griffith,
the big fella.
Now, he was Boss Hog.
There's no doubt. Well, there's only one Boss Hog.
Andy was the sheriff.
Yeah. Good man. One and two to count on Hayward, and a breaking ball away.
You look at Hayward's helmet, you see this big pad that's up here right around the cheek. This is because he was hit in the face earlier in his career, and he missed a lot of time, so he's got to make sure he has that guard on.
Yeah, broke his jaw. That was a year ago, and he's continued to wear it.
Now you see all of this down through here on the helmet, right through there. That is not a normal helmet, but what it does do is it protects the entire jawline, and I would imagine in some sense it makes him a little bit more comfortable standing at the plate.
3-2 fastball swung on and fouled back out of play. This was hit. In fact, it was 1 year ago today when he was hit by Jonathan Neese of the New York Mets. Oh man. And really at the end of the day, even though he broke his jaw, he is a very lucky young man.
There's no doubt about that, because this man possesses a tremendous amount of talent.
Well, that's got to be all for Holmberg. He walks 3 batters and hits a batter in this inning alone. Young man being given a chance for a second time to come out and say, hey, look, I want you to remember my name and who I am and what I'm capable of doing. And for the second time in as many major league starts in a Reds uniform since coming over from the Arizona Diamondbacks, it did not go David Holmberg's way. Pedro Villarreal will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. 6-0 Atlanta.
season with MLB.com's head-to-head challenge app. You and your opponent each select 4 different players, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. You make your own bet. Head-to-head challenge is free to play, so download today. Pedro Villarreal comes on in a 6-0 ball game. Not a pretty night for David Holmberg. Villarreal has been up and down with the Reds before. He's been pitching a tremendous amount out of the bullpen down in AAA. Numbers not too bad. A starter when he came up earlier. Now coming out of the bullpen.
So Villarreal will be facing a right-handed batter in Goslin to lead things off for him coming on to pitch for the Reds. And Villarreal ready. The bases are loaded. And a fastball is up high. Ball 1. Villarreal is 26 years old. He's born and raised in Texas, Edinburgh, Texas. Played at Howard College in Big Spring, Texas. As Cowboy mentioned, he has been primarily, although not exclusively, but primarily a starter. Signed with the Reds back in 2008 when they made him their 7th round selection. In their strike 2-1. Villarreal pitched in 1 game for the Reds in 2012 out of the bullpen. He worked a perfect inning that year. And in last year, he pitched in 2 games, making 1 start for the major league club. Got a loss in that start. Got knocked around a little bit. That was an emergency start for Johnny Cueto on June the 5th of last season. One of 3 trips to the DL, of course, last year for Cueto. And Villarreal suffered the loss, allowing 10 hits, 6 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings. 3-1 on Goslin. And now full count. Braves lead 6-0. A home run by Simmons in the 2nd inning, and they have scored 5 to chase Holmberg here in the 3rd. Can only imagine the disappointment for Holmberg sitting there in that dugout. You got to look at him there just a second ago. You know it didn't go well the last time you were here, and you've waited a number of months, and you finally hear a couple of days ago you're going to get that chance again, and you'll still be thinking about this one, I'm sure, for a while. Villarreal picks up the final out. Braves lead 6-0.
tonight. 513-765-7300. Log on to reds.com/telethon. We're giving away the MVP bags that you see on the screen for a $100 donation. I'm Jim Day up here in the call center, and I tell you what, the calls have been ringing off the hook. We thank you, Reds country. I got a call earlier from a gentleman named Warren Wettengel. He represents yesterday's kids. It's a 65 and older softball league. He said he would donate $200 if I got on the phone. Well, I, of course, got on the phone. Then he calls back and personally talks to me and says, you know what, we'd really like to help out the kids. Let's up that to $500, and we would like to challenge any other organization out there, any entity, any softball league, baseball league, to better our $500. And if you do out there, I will talk about your organization on the air. So the challenge has been made from Warren Wettengel and yesterday's kids. They are 65 and older softball players, and they're helping out the kids of Cincinnati. So the challenge is on the line. Tom?
Already, how about that, Jim Day? Thank you very, very much. Jim's looking good out there. I tell you, of all the places in this ballpark, if you're going to run with that tall cotton crowd, I'll tell you what, that's right where a guy like Jim Day belongs out there in that riverfront club.
The term is not tall cotton.
High cotton.
It is high cotton.
All right. High cotton.
I want to help you out there, buddy.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, well, maybe that's why I'm not hanging out with any of the folks in high cotton, because I'm calling it the wrong thing, right?
You got to have the proper terminology.
You're right. So thank you very much.
Sometimes you got to pronounce words a little funny. You'll fit right in.
I got you. Two balls and two strikes. I was thinking about that for some of the folks wrestling with the idea about giving $100, and part of the entire package includes a couple of tickets to a game, as Santiago is hit by a pitch from Tayrod, and so that's the first base runner of the night for the Reds against the Atlanta right-hander. If you do that, you and a buddy say you did it and I did it, then we could come to a game and maybe bring our wives, or maybe
our boys,
with the kids, whatever. It'll be a good night.
It'll be a great night.
The view level tickets are going to be great seats. So again, we encourage your phone calls at 513-765-7300. Obviously down 6-0. That's not exactly what we would have asked for right now, as far as what's going on the field, but we're trying to raise some money for the community fund.
You bring your kid to the game, especially a younger kid. It's the atmosphere. It's the guys on the field. It's not all about the wins and the losses. More times than not, for a young'un, it's all about the ice cream line. Right around that fourth inning when the patience starts to wane.
On the ground, they get one, and they will double up Schumacher. 4-6-3. Gonsolin, Simmons to Freeman. 2 away in the inning.
Well, Simmons comes across that bag like a bear. See a lot of shortstops kind of tiptoe around or kind of evade around second base. Watch this guy come across the bag. Come get me if you want to.
Villarreal is going to bat with 2 down and nobody on here in the Reds' third. Atlanta leading 6-0, and that one is taken outside. 1-1 to Villarreal. How about that? They try to get him at first base, but that's not going to happen, and that is a base hit for Villarreal. And they're going to throw that one into the dugout. That's his first major league hit.
Villarreal hit that ball, saw it go into the outfield. He's thinking, I got a hit. And then he saw Hayward come up firing. He's like, oh, better hurry.
That would not be a good thing. You have your first major league hit, you think, and then it goes 9-3 in the book.
Oh. Those boys over in the dugout wouldn't let you forget that one.
Now Billy Hamilton, and he bunts it foul. Villarreal all smiles as he was jogging back there, at least momentarily, after getting his first big league hit. Now they put it up on the board. Out in left center field. Good for him.
I don't care what the score is. You get your first major league hit, you can't help but smile.
0-1 to Billy Hamilton. And a fastball is up and away. Popped up to the left side, and that'll be all for the Reds into third. We go to the fourth. It's been all Atlanta so far. Brought to you by JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And enjoy Boneless Thursdays. That's today at B-Dubs with specially priced boneless wings all day. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Look at our beautiful city right there. Downtown Cincinnati. What a great place. Well, right now at FoxSportsOhio.com, ask Cal McCoy your Reds question using the Game Day Live feature. See how the computers say the Big Ten football season will play out now without Braxton Miller. And Kevin Goheen breaks down what to expect in the Bengals' third preseason game. That'll be a Sunday night tilt. It's all brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. I believe that game's out in Arizona, is it not? On Sunday night?
Yes.
Taking on Carson Palmer and the Arizona Cardinals.
When's your next game?
Not until the season opener.
And who do you have again? The Redskins and who?
The Washington Redskins and the Houston Texans.
In Washington or in Houston?
In Houston. Houston, Texas. Then going to get a look week 2 at the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks taking on the Chargers.
That'd be a good game.
And then the 49ers going to take on Arizona. Arizona team that won 10 games last year and did not make the playoffs.
49ers looking for a little resurgence.
There's a lot of drama going on out there in San Francisco. A lot of it surrounding whether or not Jim Harbaugh is going to remain as head coach there for the long haul. All right, here we go at the top of the 4th inning. The Braves in front 4-0. Of course, are you still going to be rooting for those Dallas Cowboys? Or, you know, I keep telling you, you should have been jumping ship over to the Saints, down where you
are.
Well,
I like the Saints, too. But you have to remember, when I was growing up, that's when Archie Manning was the quarterback for the Saints.
Right.
And they were the Aints. They were terrible. And the Cowboys had Roger Staubach.
Oh boy, Villarreal drills Freeman high and tight. That is a 3rd Atlanta batter that was hit already in this game.
Boy, the body language from Mesoraco says it all right there. He's setting up down and away, and you could just see his body just, oh, man.
Now Justin Upton, he has walked and had a bases loaded 2-run single. That started the scoring in the 5-run 3rd inning. You know, we were talking earlier about Joe Morgan and all the respect that he commands all over the game of baseball, and not only in baseball but in the business community. You just mentioned a fellow's name, who of course went to high school right here in Cincinnati over at Purcell High School before it became Purcell Marion, and that's Roger Staubach. He would be the baseball version, or the football version rather, of Joe Morgan. He's been an unbelievably successful player, Hall of Fame player. He's been an enormously successful businessman with business interests around Dallas and all over the entire country. And man, when that guy has something to say, to quote you and E.F. Hutton, people listen.
You got it. Tremendous ambassador for his sport, as Morgan is for not only the Reds but Major League Baseball.
Line drive center field, base hit, and the beat goes on for Justin Upton. Freeman on to second base, 2 on with nobody out.
Well, when the Braves have their 3, 4, 5 guys coming to the plate, they got action here tonight.
Now Johnson, who has popped up to left field and nearly knocked down the wall with an RBI line drive to double to left field his last time up. That was a 2-base hit in the 5-run 3rd inning. 0-1 to Johnson. Johnson has turned out to be a really nice player for the Atlanta Braves. We saw him initially, you know, in the Houston Astros organization, and you could see the potential even then. But he was such a young player, and he was trying to, you know, get his legs underneath him at the big league level. He went to Arizona and played well for the Diamondbacks. But last year, he's never been better, and I mean never, even in his minor league career. He had .321 for the Braves in 142 games. He knocked in 68 runs and had 34 doubles. And he'll knock in more runs more than likely this year than he did last year. He already has, with the one tonight, 55 runs batted in this season. Of course, we used to talk about it all the time when Chris Welsh is sitting in the broadcast booth. Chris and Chris Johnson's father were very, very close friends. Teammates playing in the minor leagues together. Reds were playing somebody the other night, and you played with his daddy. Who was that? You were talking about it on the radio.
Charlie Culberson from the Rockies.
Yeah. Hit off the end of the bat, remains 2-2. That'll make you feel old, won't it, when you see the guy you used to play with and now his son's playing in the major leagues?
Yeah. I realize how old I am.
Yeah, but you be looking good.
Yeah, right. 7 surgeries. Part of the game. Just glad I didn't play football. I'd have really been smoked.
Too attitude, John. Straight up in the air. Billy Hamilton coming on to get it. 1 away. Take a look at the call center, and they're fielding the calls in there tonight. That's Judy Price we mentioned there in the middle. She is the manager Brian Price's wife. She's a delightful gal. And Lauren Gardner sitting to her left, your right at home. Many of you have seen her on television. She is a
Louisville, right?
Pardon me?
Is that in Louisville? Is she in Louisville?
No, she is on one of the big cable outlets. I'm not sure which one it is, but she is all over college football as a sideline reporter. And this year, also in addition to that, has been doing that minor league game of the week on television with Doug Flynn.
That's right.
Who is here tonight. Doug handling this weekend series over on the Reds radio network. But Lauren, another delightful young lady, and well, she and Sam LeCure are quite the pair. They're a fun couple. But I would not be surprised at all if you see Lauren working on NFL games in the not too distant future. Would not surprise me at all. Well, she's been doing a lot of Mountain West football the last few years, and then during the Super Bowl, or during the playoffs last year, I'm sorry, because she's based out west. During the playoffs last year with the Denver Broncos, they were sending her as a field reporter, reporting from the games back to her network. So good luck to her. So that means when Sam's finished playing, he can just go hang out at football games.
That ain't all bad.
That ain't bad at all. 1-2 on Evan Gattis.
Two guys standing right there at the plate. Major home run hitters from the catcher's position. 19 for Gattis, second in the National League. Of course, the Reds catcher Mesoraco 20. That would be first in the National League for catchers.
I tell you, when it comes to just pure raw strength, those are two of the strongest young men in the game.
Oh, you're right.
This Gattis is an animal. I mean, this guy is just country strong.
And it shows in their swing. I mean, we know how hard Mesoraco swings. He does not get cheated. This fellow for the Braves, cut in the same mold. He gets down there.
He's like Paul Bunyan. That one taken up and in, 3 balls and 2 strikes. He was a young man. Story's been told many times. Great story about how he was a great baseball player in high school, but He really wasn't focused on baseball. He wasn't focused on academics. He wasn't focused on anything. He was just a guy that was just happy to be alive, and he was going out and hanging out in Colorado and ski resorts and picking up odd jobs here and there and all this kind of thing for a number of years, and then finally decided, you know what, if I'm ever going to try the baseball thing, I may as well give it one more go. And he did, and look at him now. And there's a walk to load the bases with one out. Just any reminders, you might be thinking about having a cold one, and that's probably not a bad idea. We'll have our Miller time moment coming up a little bit later on.
He just locked me up.
All right.
That's not a bad idea. 6-zip with the bases loaded and one out. Might have want to order a double.
Oh, and one on Andrelton Simmons. But before you do any of that, make sure you call and help us with our Reds Community Fund telethon here tonight. We could sure use your help. And so could so many in and around Reds country. And Youth Academy, Urban Academy that opens tomorrow. Only the 4th of its kind in any city of the United States of America. I've not seen the first one out in Compton. I've not seen the one in New Orleans. It would be hard to imagine it could be any nicer than the one we have here. There's a bouncer up the middle. They'll get a force out at second base. A run will score to make it 7-0. So Simmons, with a fielder's choice, will be given credit for a run batted in. I understand Jim Day is on the phone right now, and in the other hand, he's holding a microphone.
They're unveiling the Urban Youth Academy tomorrow, so these funds are going directly to the Reds Community Fund. Going to stay right here in the community, going nowhere else, and you're going to help a lot of kids by donating. We really appreciate you calling in. Yeah. Hey, by the way, you're on TV right now, or at least our phone call is, apparently.
You better let him know that, Jim.
Yes.
See, the problem with this picture right here is he has a phone in one hand, the mic in the other hand, and can't write down the donation.
Yeah.
And how it's going to be made. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe he already wrote the donation down and got all the semantics out of the way, and now he's telling the person on the phone what they have for it, where the money's going,
I got you.
why it's there.
Okay. All right.
And let's remember, this is for kids. It is for the children of your own community.
Three 3-0 on B.J. Upton. And there's a 4-pitch walk.
You know, sometimes, Tom, you think, well, what is $100 going to do in the grand scheme of things? How is that going to help anybody? You have to remember, collectively, you can do anything. But if you don't start somewhere, you're never going to get to the finish line.
That's right. And that is one thing about the Reds Community Fund. And it's true for some other charities, but I can assure you it is true for the Reds. It is one of the best as far as, you know, there's not a lot of administrative costs in this kind of thing going on. I mean, if you really start looking around at some of the charities, and don't get me wrong, we all have our charities that are near and dear to our heart. But when you pledge, say, $100 to some charities, really about $22 or $40, or if you're lucky in a lot of them, $70 or $80 are going to where you want it to go. With the Reds, it's all going where you want it to go.
The Reds take care of the administrative side.
Oh, and one account on Julio Teheran. And it's 1-1 strike. 2 outs, 1 in. Braves with a 7-0 lead.
And remember, Tom, the $100 donation it's not just write a check and see you later. You actually get something for it.
Better believe it. You're getting a lot of cool stuff for it. And Jim Day's going to remind you of that during the entire bottom of the 4th inning. Some of the things that will be going on. We're going to have Joe Morgan coming up to the booth. We're hoping in the 5th. Well, it was great catching up with Joe. What a guy just to hang out and shoot the breeze. Isn't he? I mean, there are very few guys that are more fun just to sit around and talk to than Joe Morgan.
I just love talking baseball with him because he can slice it and dice it as good as anybody.
There's a tapper down to third, and the force out will end the inning. So Jim Day is right around the corner. I know you don't want to stick around for that. We're going to stick around for that.
Programs have been really taking part in presenting you with terrific stories throughout the community. And there are so many success stories that we could tell you, and we told some of them on the pregame show. We'll tell some more on the postgame show. But the outreach programs are all about the kids here in Cincinnati, and the Urban Youth Academy, the brand new Urban Youth Academy, the unveiling tomorrow, cutting the ribbon, over 30,000 square feet indoor facility, 4 outdoor fields. And this is much more than baseball, folks. This is about education. There are vocational programs. And think back to when you were a kid. You needed direction. I know I did. And I needed people to help me along. And I needed some goals and some things to aspire to. And we've already seen success stories of giving these kids those opportunities. And your money can help out the kids of the future, the kids right now. We're giving away the MVP bags. You see all the great things, the items that are involved. And here's what you do. Call 513-765-7300. You can log on to reds.com/telethon. And if you're lucky enough, you can even talk to Lauren Gardner, who we talked about, is the girlfriend of Sam LeCure, and the wife of Brian Price, Judy Price. We're hanging out, talking to people. And Tom and Cowboy, how we looking? I'd say darn good.
Well, I got a question for you, though, Jim. As the Reds come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning, so don't run away. It'll be Frazier, Phillips, and Bruce. When you were on the phone, was that a man or a woman you were talking to?
That was a gentleman,
okay.
A fine gentleman.
So, you know, oftentimes, you know, you want to know who is a closer and who's not. We know Jeff Brantley was a closer. Did you close a deal on that call?
I closed the deal. In fact, I've had a few that we've upped the ante a bit.
Really?
Well, $100 is the donation for the MVP bag, and a couple of people said they would give more, $200 if I got on the phone, and I raced over and got on the phone right away.
Wow.
Talked to the gentleman that gave $500, wanted to challenge everyone else out there. So indeed, I am closing the deal. as much as I can, talking about not only the great items you're going to get in this MVP bag, but where this money is allocated and how it is going to be used. And 100% of these proceeds are going to the children or the kids in Cincinnati and the tri-state area.
And it's all the outreach programs around everything that's going on with the Reds Community Fund and the various locations where they are around Reds country. So, Jim, we could probably say, we're on the air right now, I mean, since you've already basically done it, I would just be repeating what you just said, that if people call in, if they have a donation, say, of $200 or more, that they get to visit with you on the phone for a minute or so?
If I am worth the extra hundy, absolutely.
Really?
No question about it. Absolutely. I'll get on the phone. I'm here all night, Tom. I've got nowhere to go.
Okay.
Here all night. And if you want to call and talk to me and you want to donate $200, I will personally get on the phone and talk to you.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, there you have it. I mean, there, Jim Day, as Mr. Castellini likes to say all the time, and he said it all the time during the caravan last year when Mr. Castellini would pop in from place to place, and Jim would be with us. Jim is unbelievably popular. And so, you know, if you're able and willing to move to that $200 range, then you can chat with everyday Jim Day.
All night, all day, Jim Day.
Of course, if you really start getting up there in the high cotton range, right? I got it right that time.
That was outstanding.
If you really, I mean, if you're getting into the real high cotton, we might even put together a little lunch that you could have with Jim Day. Maybe a breakfast, real early breakfast, because he has to get to the ballpark pretty early. You know, like maybe 6:30, 7, and then maybe a lunch somewhere here in and around where we have a night game. Want to weigh in the inning? I think that'd be a great idea. I wonder where we have to put the ante on that. What do you think, Cowboy? I mean, if somebody, say, donated, fill in the blank, then they get to have breakfast and or lunch with Jim Day. What do you think?
I don't know. I'd say you got to get up around that 4 figure mark. But you can't make it too low because he might be having breakfast every day.
Hey, Tom Brenneman. I've got a lady on the phone.
A what?
A beautiful lady on the phone here. What's your name, ma'am? Marge Palmer. She is donating $1,000 to speak to me right now.
How about that?
And you're a beautiful human being, Marge. We really appreciate it. God bless you. We thank you for calling in, and certainly thank you for watching Reds baseball.
And we indeed thank Marge Palmer. That is awesome stuff. Now, Jim, I don't know if you're still on the phone or not, as it's 2-0 to Jay Bruce, but look, I know you're a breakfast guy. You're an up and Adam guy. And, well, Jim's still on the phone, so we'll hold that thought until he's ready to talk with us. But he is enjoying a nice chat with Mrs. Palmer as Jay Bruce lifts a fly ball into straightaway center field. Hey, Jim, I want to come back to you. I understand you're off the phone with Marge Palmer there, and thank Marge Palmer very much. That is an extremely generous donation to the Reds Community Fund. Jim, we're contemplating the idea. We know you're another. I used to say in the old days when I had a hard time being an up and Adam guy, but now I'm one of those guys, and I know you're one of those guys. You're always up, you know, getting after it early in the morning. We're on the road, working out, etc. Now, how much would somebody have to pay for you to agree to have an early breakfast with them, maybe before they had to go to work or before you had to go to work?
Wow, that would be, you know, if I put a price tag on myself, I'm not sure I can do that.
No, but you're answering phones out there. And I mean, look, your time is valuable too. But I mean, if somebody were to donate, fill in the blank, then, you know, maybe we start with, you know, having breakfast with you. And in between innings, I'm going to call my dad. I'm not even sure if he's watching the game, but I tell you, now, if you get to another level, maybe you have lunch with a Hall of Famer.
Ooh, now we're talking there. Some nice.
That might be the highest bidder.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. The highest bidder would have lunch or breakfast, preferably breakfast,
with a Hall of Famer,
with Marty Brennaman.
There you go.
That'd be lovely.
Now we're talking.
Well, I'm going to call him in between innings, and if any of you, I'll give his number out over the air, and you can give him a buzz, and so maybe you can talk him into it. No, but look, what's the number, Jim? What are you going to do for breakfast with somebody? What are we going to do here?
Well, I don't think it's fair to put Jim on the spot.
No, I do.
Well, yeah, we need to figure that out.
How about half of what they bid for Marty? How about that? He is Marty Brennaman Hall of Famer. I am merely Jim Day.
That's a great idea. That's a great
How about
idea.
half of what they bid for Marty?
Well, I got to get the okay from Marty on that deal.
Just call 1-800-CRANKY.
You better hope he didn't hear that.
Well, he's right on the nose. There's a fly ball, well hit into left field, but nope, and able to get it. What a play that was by Justin Upton. That's a play of the night right there. Upton with some ups to get this. Look at that. Doesn't matter just because he was a Hall of Fame baseball player. He's just one of our favorite guys in the world, the Hall of Famer. Reds Hall of Famer, Baseball Hall of Famer. What is your official title at the Hall of Fame now? Are you the chairman of the Hall of Fame?
No. I'm vice chairman of the board. Jane Forbes Clark is the chairman, and I'm vice chairman.
Vice chairman.
Yeah, that and some money to get you a cup of coffee, I guess. So whatever.
How you doing?
Still only get one vote.
How you doing?
Great. I'm doing great.
Now you were hobbling around here a little bit, and now all of a sudden you've gotten rid of the cane. You're looking good now.
I'm good. Everything's good. I had a knee replacement, and it's been a little slower than I thought, but I'm good now. I'm even thinking I'm going to be on the golf course another week.
You're really doing it.
Yeah.
Well, you look good, too. You slimmed down some.
That's the main thing. I'm not going to gain it back either. That's my number one thing, not to gain it back.
Tomorrow's a big day, Joe. You're going to be over there, over off Seymour Avenue, over by the Gardens, and that's tomorrow, the official opening of the Major League Baseball Urban Academy. You were one of the real vocal proponents for growing the academy model throughout the entire United States. I mean, you've been at this thing from the ground level with your friend Bud Selig, not just the one here in Cincinnati. We'll get to that in a minute. But you were there really from the infancy of this whole idea.
I can't remember, but it's about 15 years ago. And I picked up the phone and I called the commissioner. And to his credit, he took my call and he allowed me to vent for a couple of minutes.
There's a base hit in the right field by Hayward.
I said to him, one of the reasons that the inner cities are not producing players like they did before is because, there are so many academies in, Dominican, Venezuela, Japan, all over the world. And those kids are getting the best instruction, getting a chance to be looked at, and they're getting signed. I said, our kids are not getting that same opportunity. All I wanted to do was level the playing field. It's going to take a long time to do that. But I suggested that we put some academies here in the United States. And to his credit, the commissioner said, okay, Joe, I think you're right. And they started working on it.
White ball is smoked into left center field right there. And Schumacher unable to get it. On his way to third is Hayward. They will hold him there on a double by Goslin. And the Braves have him at second and third and nobody out here in the fifth.
And to his credit, even more so, they made it bigger than I even thought. They added an educational component to it, which I think is obviously great. Now, my two favorite things in the world are education and young people. And I've worked at that for a long period of time. I have a youth foundation, et cetera, et cetera. So education was important when they added it, but it wasn't my idea. It was their idea.
That's our future.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
exactly right. And that's, and I want to commend you because you're out there sometimes with me when we do some of these things.
It's what we are called to do. We were very fortunate to get to be able to put on that uniform. And I would love nothing more for someone to come through an academy like that and be able to have that opportunity. Now, you got to earn it.
You got to thank you. But all I want to do is give them the opportunity. Yeah. The kids. I said to them, once that, it's easy. You have a better chance of getting signed if you're from Cuba than you do if you're from an inner city.
You're exactly right. Yeah, and it didn't used to be that way.
No, it wasn't that way.
Second and third, nobody out for Freddie Freeman. I was talking before you got here, Joe. My son was at one of the Reds baseball camps, and it was at the Urban Academy, which will officially open tomorrow. All of it was outside because it wasn't completed yet inside. Now, you've been on a tour of the inside,
yes.
Right?
Well, it's something that we needed here in Cincinnati. Because let's face it, the weather can get a little ugly here in the off season.
Really,
and so we don't want the baseball to stop. We don't want the educational things to stop. So that's the greatest thing for me. Look, if I had any input here, everybody's giving me a lot of credit, and I take it, and happily. But this was on the drawing boards before I came back to Cincinnati. I came back 5 years ago. They were wanting to do this. Now, if I did anything, I helped expedite, some of the money and some of the things that are, that we needed. But this was going to get done whether Joe Morgan was involved or not. And I give the Castellini family the credit for that, and the Reds, because that's what they wanted to do. So one of the things when I got involved, I said to him, I want this to be the best. I'm kind of like that about most things that I get involved in. I want it to be the best. And Charlie Frank and everybody agreed. I want this to be the elite urban academy. I want this to be the blueprint for going forward on the East Coast. And so that's my input there. I wanted this to be the best. And I have to tell you, they exceeded my expectations. They really did. And like you said, that indoor facility is going to be just unbelievable. And that's what I'm saying, going forward, on the East Coast, teams are going to have to try to do that, build an indoor facility so if they can have year-round education and year-round baseball playing and softball, etc.
Yeah, and we're asking for your help tonight. Cowboy, pardon me for interrupting, but just to remind people, you can help us tonight with the Reds Urban Youth Academy. Visit reds.com/academy. We've been giving the phone number where we have operators standing by. Jim Day is standing by out there, and the number is 513-765-7300. 765-7300.
Joe, you were talking about the combination of education and the baseball.
Right.
What people don't understand sometimes is that confidence in education can come from success in a sport.
Correct.
And once you have that confidence as a child, then all of a sudden you believe in yourself. You believe, okay, well, I can do this. I can do this math. I can read this book.
Yes.
I'll just go along the same path as I did with hitting. I struck out a lot early. Now I've learned how to do it. You translate that type of work into your education. Not everybody's going to make it to the big leagues.
No.
But we can create successful people.
Well said.
Do you sense, Joe, and you're traveling all over the country, And the first one was in Compton. You were there for all of that.
Yeah.
And they have one in New Orleans, and I know they're going to open one in Philadelphia.
They have one in Houston as well.
Houston, Texas. So the Cincinnati will become the 4th city officially, because they're going to beat Philadelphia to the punch, to have a Major League Baseball Youth Urban Academy. As that one is lifted into right center field. This will be deep enough to bring in Hayward from third, and that'll make it an 8-0 Atlanta lead. We're talking about baseball in the inner city. Is there any way to gauge or to determine if some of these initiatives by Major League Baseball are starting to make an impact?
Yes, they have started to make an impact. There have been some kids who have signed and gone to the minor leagues and on their way to the big leagues. So it has made an impact. Not just the urban academies, but some of the other initiatives that you're talking about. They have made an impact. And then back to something Jeff said. Look, all you want to do is give the kids a chance. Look, if we don't get any baseball players, so be it, but maybe they will be better because they've learned something about education and dealing with each other, and
we get some high school and college graduates.
Exactly there. Exactly. So no matter what, it has been good, but there have been some breakthroughs as far as baseball is concerned too.
Well, speaking of baseball, because with 2 outs, I don't want to let you get out of here. It's been a tough road to hoe for the home team.
It's been very difficult, and I'm a little surprised. Let's face it, when we went to the All-Star break, we were 1.5 out and going this way. It has been difficult. A lot of it offensively, we haven't played as well. We played great defense, as you guys point out every night that I watch the games. I'm a little surprised. I'm just going to be blunt with you. I'm a little surprised that we have fallen on hard times like this.
1-1 account on Johnson. And a big swing and a miss.
It'd be unfair to me to try to tell you.
No, I understand. I'm not asking you.
No, but in the time that we have allotted.
Joe, do you think as a player that when you lose 2 big guns like Phillips and Votto, the other guys put so much more pressure on themselves to try to perform?
It's interesting you say that because it's obviously the truth. But by the same token, remember we lost Votto a couple of years ago, and we actually played better, for a while. And that doesn't mean we were better without him. It just meant that the guys stepped up and did what you're talking about. And we did that for a while. Let's face it. I mean, like I said, we were 1.5 out at the All-Star break. So,
Great seeing you, young man.
It's not over yet.
Nope.
That's Yogi Berra, right?
That's right.
That's what Yogi said.
But tomorrow, good luck tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much.
Big day tomorrow.
Forward to it.
We're very much looking forward to it. We thank the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan for his time, as always, here tonight. Tomorrow night, take advantage of the 4 for $48 ticket offer. You buy 4 tickets for $48. You receive 4 $5 Cervati vouchers. That's a total of $20 towards any order at Cervati Pastry Shop and Deli. Fireworks tomorrow night. Don't forget, after the game, they're presented by KOI Auto Parts, 513-381-REDS. We had Phil up there on the left. There was one guy looked like he was doing a little work, getting ready for the weekend on his boat there, Cowboy.
Nice looking rigs.
Real nice.
Real.
Hey, by the way, we need to check in with Jim Day again, because I have confirmation from the Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman that the highest bidder tonight, he would be happy to have breakfast and or lunch with the highest bidder tonight, which means the second highest bidder tonight gets to have breakfast with Jim Day. So, Jim, the question is quite obvious, and that is, how are we looking?
Darn good, Tom. I would be happy to go to breakfast with someone. The would we call them the unlucky second place person?
No, stop it.
I'm kidding. I would be happy to. It would be my pleasure to anyone that would like to go to breakfast.
All right.
Lunch, if you're not a morning person. Wink, wink. Love that lunch idea.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Okay, all right. Lunch it is then. Lunch it is.
But yeah,
I just thought you were more of a breakfast guy. But you know,
I love breakfast, but about noon.
It's right up Cowboys out.
You got that right. Breakfast right around 2 o'clock.
All right, so the number to dial is 513-765-7300. And again, the highest bidder of the night will have breakfast or lunch with Marty Brenneman, and the second highest bidder of the night will have breakfast or, apparently, lunch is preferred with Mr. Jim Day from our very own Fox Sports Ohio. There's strike three call. And for Tehran, his second strikeout of the game. He's not walked a batter, he's hit a batter, and only allowed 2 base hits.
Two-seam fastball, not overpowering, 88 miles an hour. Not always how hard you throw it, it's where and when.
Skip Schumacher bounced into a double play his first time up. We are in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the Atlanta Braves rolling ever since the 2nd inning against Red starter David Holmberg tonight. They scored a run in the 2nd inning. They scored 5 in the 3rd, single runs in the 4th and this 5th. Ryan Ludwig waits in the on-deck circle and will bat for Villarreal. That went off the glove of Tehran, and Schumacher has himself a base hit. To remind you, tomorrow night we'll get underway at our regularly scheduled time, 30 minutes before the start of every game. So tomorrow night, that means 6:30. Reds Live, we call it. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Villarreal goes 2 1/3 innings, allows 3 hits and a couple of runs. That one down the left field line, and it is a foul ball. More than enough to get out of here, but just fractionally too far in front of it.
Ryan had one of those in St. Louis yesterday. Hit it right on the screws. and it just happened to be just a bit foul. You get out in front a little bit, and it will hook. And that's what happened with that baseball. That looked like a hanging breaking ball from Julio Teheran.
Short left field. This will be the final out of the inning as Justin Upton will run it down to hit a man left. We're on our way to the 6th. Reds will go back to their bullpen trailing 8-0. The Braves in front 8-0, but of course tonight we are trying to do so much good as the Reds Community Fund does each and every day year round. We've had Bob Castellini, we have Joe Morgan, and we have Phil Castellini joining us up here in the broadcast booth. And you know, Phil, we were talking with your dad, we were talking with Joe, and about Joe for a second. You know, we know that his contribution was such a key cog in getting this whole thing together, and we were talking to your dad about it, and really what a gem he is as far as making this thing happen.
No question, not just here in Cincinnati, but really Joe's one of the guys that got with the commissioner a long time ago and said, hey, commissioner, we're doing these things all over the world, literally, with these academies in, you know, Dominican and Venezuela and other places, and you know, what are we doing in the inner cities here in the continental U.S.? And that's really what sparked you know, the commissioner to start this initiative, in addition to RBI programs, to get these urban youth academies going in the inner city. And so, you know, we're proud to be a part of that. And Joe really started that, and then in addition, really helped us here in Cincinnati as well.
The whole Reds Community Fund concept, when your group and your family's group helped put together everybody to buy this organization, one of the most important things, you know, obviously the thing that most people see is what's going on out here on the field. And obviously there have been some very good years here recently, 3 trips to the playoffs in the last 4 years. And the All-Star game is coming here. I mean, these are things that you have been directly involved in, and the business side and all the changes here to the ballpark. But I would imagine there can't be a lot that would be any more important to you in your heart than what the Reds Community Fund is doing every day.
No, there's no question. And the Community Fund existed before we got here, and it was really an infusion of focus and cash. And, you know, players give a lot more to the fund than ever before, as do our, you know, corporate sponsors and owners. And we have events now that are dedicated to pushing funds that way. And really, it's a couple things we're doing. We got to get kids interested in playing the game. So we're funding programs that do that. We're putting programs back in the inner city where they didn't exist. And ultimately, we're trying to create both future fans of the franchise and players of the franchise. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that we're getting as a positive for our commitment to the community through the community fund. And this is really this $7 million brick and mortar project is a stamp on that and a permanent legacy of the work that Charlie Frank and his group are doing, and we couldn't be more proud of the facility. It kind of mirrors what we have out in Goodyear. That was part of the idea.
That was my next question, because that's where you another part where you directly have had a lot of impact on that. And how did that tie in with the Arizona?
Well, it's one of these things where you build a indoor diamond, so to speak. It's kind of a glorified pole barn box of a building, and similarly in Arizona, as you know, it's a facility that has locker rooms and training rooms and a big workout space and all that kind of stuff. But what they did such a great job in Goodyear is mixing the materials and the look that they had, a very contemporary look, but they made a boxy building look cool. And so ultimately our goal was to do that here in Cincinnati and give these kids that have the experience of working in the off season or rain days in the summer that, hey, you're kind of training in the place that's just like a smaller version of the place where the major league team and the minor league guys train out in Goodyear, and that was kind of the philosophy.
Phil, I think you have to take some semblance of satisfaction being able to take the Reds name, the Reds Community Fund, and do something, because we didn't do this when I was here, and be able to spread it not only just a little bit in the community, just Reds. You have involved the entire community, the entire business community.
No question. And P&G, couldn't have done it without them. And there's a tag along with Kroger as well that's helped us, and other great sponsors like PNC and others have continued to give to the community fund. And it's without that partnership with those businesses in the community, we couldn't do it. And that's really what it's all about. Everybody gets the mission, and this is just a great manifestation of all that work.
Well, what you've emphasized here is basically the teamwork concept that you have not only on the field but in the front office for the Reds, and you've taken it out into the community and into the business community and created this Urban Youth Academy.
Right, and you hear the old saying, it takes a village, right? And that's really what it's about. And the good news about what we're doing here, I think globally with the Reds in this community, all over Reds country, as we call it, 150-mile radius, is everybody gets what we're about. We get what the fans are about, the fact that we are stewards of this franchise. We're trying to bring them a product worthy of supporting. They get what we're doing in the community, and it's one of those things, and the players get it. I mean, we're getting more out of these players today, and what Walt has done to change the culture and Brian Price is phenomenal, and that's part of what's making it all work as well.
2 down and nobody on here in the Atlanta 6th inning. It is an 0-2 count on Upton, and that's strike 3. Phil, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to swing by. I know you got a lot of busy days and nights here, and so thank you.
It's going to be a great weekend.
All right, brother.
Look forward to it.
Look forward to it, indeed. Phil Castellini, kind enough to stop by the broadcast booth. We're trying. We need your help for the Reds Community Fund here tonight. This summer, the Kroger meal deal. You check concession stands around the ballpark for the Kroger meal deal. And in it, you get a hot dog, a bag of Wheat Thins, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Chips Ahoy. Make sure you get your Kroger meal deal your next trip to Great American Ballpark. Well, Jim Day's going to take us through to the 7th inning. Jim, tell us what's going on out there.
Well, the calls continue to come in, Tom, and I just talked to a gentleman, R.J. Pearson, who unfortunately just lost his wife, Mary, and donated $250 in her honor. And also her father, Jerry Elder, played for the Reds. So, RJ, we thank you for calling in. It was great talking to you. Let's go on down the line here, because as you guys have mentioned, it's Lauren Gardner tonight, and we have Judy Price, the wife of Brian Price, and they are on the phone right now. And I am going to do the rude thing of interrupting their phone calls. I know it is, because if you could tell them to just hold on 1 second, that their call is on live TV.
Hold on.
Yeah. I'll talk to Sean while. Hey, Sean, this is Jim Day. How you doing? Thanks for donating, and we really appreciate you letting us talk to Lauren Gardner real quick. We appreciate it.
He's a nice guy.
I know he is a very nice guy. Tell me what.
Jim, go right on down the line and introduce everybody else who's there, if you wouldn't mind, because those people are taking their time to.
I'm going to give the phone back to Lauren right here so we don't lose this
Who are
person.
some of the other folks taking some of the phone calls? Because they're taking their time to help us here.
They really are.
I'd like to acknowledge them.
All right, let's get some names on here. Who call center? What's your name?
Buck Newsom.
All right, we're going on down the line. Again, we don't want to interrupt phone calls.
You're right. You're right.
What is your name?
Drew Becker.
Drew, thank you very much for your support.
Good
we
man.
appreciate that, Drew.
Man.
You're a good guy. What's your name?
Rob.
Rob what?
Matucci.
Rob Matucci. Rob Matucci helping us out here tonight. We don't want to miss this beautiful lady right here. What is your name?
My name is Robin, and I'm on the phone here, and I don't know who with.
That is Robin right there on the phone.
Robin looked a little camera shy.
A photo of me and Brandon Phillips is what they're requesting. Autograph. I'm in. I know Dat Dude BP will do it as well. So mark that down as a yes. We're going to make that happen. Tom, I am working the phones. Cowboy, I'm doing the best I can to keep up down here. Or up here, I should say. And
have you had any of that grub up there? I got to tell you, you know, when you're going to get something to eat here in the ballpark, food is awesome, and there's a lot of different places to go. One out here in the inning. Have you had a chance? I know you're really busy up there. To swing on by and then try some of the cuisine.
Who are you talking to here? Of course.
What have you had up there?
We had actually some barbecue ribs, which I know the Cowboy.
You are killing me.
Yeah, I know. Had some ribs here tonight. Very nice. I think it was some prime rib as well. Had some sweet potato pie up here.
I want you to come in here. Let me go up there.
Yeah, all kinds of fruits and beverages, of course.
But have you heard any Madonna up there?
I have not heard any Madonna up here at all.
Okay.
But I would invite everyone to get in the groove and call us at 513-765-7300.
That's very nice. Very nice. For those of you wondering about that Madonna reference, we were telling where the Urban Academy is and how it's just a block or two away from the Cincinnati Gardens. And Jim chimed in last night that one of the very first concerts he ever saw was Madonna at the Cincinnati Gardens.
It was her first tour.
Madonna?
Yeah, her first major
And
tour.
then you told me tonight, which I couldn't believe you didn't tell the story on the air yesterday, that you actually said hello to her.
I did.
Not that night.
Had a chance meeting with her when the Reds were in Yankee Stadium. This is when at the time she was dating Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod. There was a rain delay, and rather than take her up through the main concourse, which would have caused just a big commotion in the stadium, they brought her down through the visitor dugout and through the players tunnel and actually ran right into her and got to say hello for one shining moment.
Did she say hello back?
She did. She did say hello, and that was about it.
Wow. Did you get her autograph or anything? Or?
I did not.
No?
No. It says on the credential, no autographs.
Jim Kelch would have gotten that autograph.
He would have. He's low rent like that. I'm kidding, Jim Kelch. I love you to death.
I'm just going to let that breathe for a little while.
I'm kidding.
The number to call is 513-765-7300 if you're able to help us with the Reds Community Fund here tonight. I mean, look, what's going on the field right now is not exactly all that good. It's 8-0 in favor of the Braves.
Yeah, but this telethon tonight is not about the Reds baseball team. It is about future Reds and helping kids learn baseball, and as Joe Morgan said, education along with that.
You better believe it. 0-2 on Brandon Phillips.
Hey guys, I got to tell you, on a personal note, playing sports year-round as I did as a kid, and this is the honest truth, if I didn't have those sports to play, places to go, adults sending me in the right direction, I'm not sure I'd be standing here right now. And that's the honest to God truth right there.
There's no doubt about it.
There is so much more than just baseball. It's giving these kids something to do. And let's face it, in today's world, where electronics and all of these games, etc., have taken over the world, just to see kids go out and play is rare anymore. So to give them a place to do it and give them the proper direction, I mean, it's just priceless right here. And I honestly wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have that as a kid.
Well put. Two down, 0-2 the count on Brandon Phillips, and Tehran delivers, and that one is hooked into left field down the line, and that'll be a base hit for Brandon. This will be his first extra base hit since coming back off the disabled list.
th double of the year. Like a changeup that ran back over the plate. He didn't get the perfect part of the bat to it, but with a changeup inside, you just want to make sure you keep it fair. Looks like Chris Negron will be running for Brandon Phillips out at second base. I love your dad.
So a runner at second with 2 away, and Negron will take over for Brandon. I was just starting to say before he even had that at bat, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys have been playing each and every day, like Bruce Phillips just coming off the DL, but maybe a Billy Hamilton, somebody like that, if we don't see some changes in this game, although they've already used Ryan Ludwig and he did not stay in the game. They would have Heisey available as another outfielder. That one pulled foul. Billy Hamilton is a guy who has played seemingly every night.
Day.
Yeah. And Bruce too, since coming off the DL following the knee surgery.
But Billy is high energy. Young legs. I'll tell you, Julio Tehran has not let up a bit, even with a big lead. It's the first time the Reds have had a runner at second base all night.
That ball hammered but foul. Bruce jumped all over that one.
shows you how important shutout baseball is to Julio Teheran. He wants the perfect pitch here, especially after that ball Bruce ripped down the right field line.
Fly ball to left field, and this will end the inning. Brandon Phillips picks up a double in the inning. We're on our way to the 7th, where the Braves are in front 8-0. The 7th inning. It's a pleasure to be joined by Darryl Miller, the vice president from Major League Baseball Youth and Facility Development. The long and short of that is, Darryl, you and I were talking when you came in. Nice to have you with us, by the way. Nice to have you in Cincinnati. I'd imagine tomorrow, for all of us here in Cincinnati, we know it's a big day and an important day, but it's a big day for Major League Baseball.
Oh, it's a huge day for Major League Baseball. We've been building these academies since the academy opened in Compton in 2006, and this is going to be the 5th open. So we're really thrilled to be able to have such a great partner, and this is going to set the standard. It really is.
When you say that, why?
Well, the indoor facility that the Reds have built is really going to change the way we develop and the way that we build our academies, because we're going to be able to do real year-round 90-foot base development, which is the biggest.
That is so big.
It really is
so big.
So I think that's going to separate us, and hopefully all the other academies that we build after this will take a page out of this book.
And nobody wants to step down.
No, it's going to be a real challenge.
And I mean, you're a guy that knows about baseball. You played Major League Baseball and back with when they used to be known as just the regular Anaheim Angels, or were they the California Angels? California Angels, pardon me.
Yep, exactly.
You were back on that team that got beat in '86. Is that right? The Boston Red Sox and sadly one of your teammates in the story, of course, it later took place with Donnie Moore.
Yep.
But you're a guy that knows baseball, so to all of a sudden be able to walk in when you're in the design stage of something like this. I mean, your eyes must have really lit up when you saw what this indoor place was going to look like.
Well, we were hoping to build the standard for an indoor facility, and you know, Mr. Castellini, Bob, and Phil really took this academy to heart, and he took it to the next level in the way that he wanted it built. You know, and he took it a step even higher than I was hoping we could go. And I think that's why it's got his mark all over it, and I think that's why it sets the standard, because, you know, ownership really embraced what we're doing here.
And you know, when Phil was up here with us and Bob was up here with us earlier on, they were talking about, you know, they weren't going to sit there and say, hey, yeah, us, we, and pat themselves on the back, and they were spreading that around to obviously the corporations that have gotten involved, and they mentioned, of course, Procter & Gamble and Kroger, both Cincinnati-based international companies and the players themselves also getting involved with this operation.
Yeah, this has been a family affair, that's for sure. I mean, all the players involved, the way that the communities embraced what we wanted to do. I mean, we came out here, I remember freezing, walking to all these different facilities and walking the fields out here with Mr. Castellini, and Charlie Frank has been a warrior through the whole thing, and we're using our imagination trying to envision where this could go and what would be the right place and who would be the benefactors of it. And like I said, when Mr. Castellini wrapped his arms around it and embraced it, then it was all over. And we built an unbelievable state-of-the-art facility.
I know.
The educational components that we're going to be able to deliver.
Well, what does that mean? We've talked a lot about, but specifically, what does that mean?
So SAT prep, University of Cincinnati is going to actually help us with a lot of the things we
Cincinnati
found.
State
Cincinnati State, exactly. They're going to help us with the tutoring programs. What we do at every academy, we figured long ago that we got to get kids to college.
I'm telling you, that is
we got to get them to college. We got to get our kids ready to go to college. Now, if they want to sign and they have the ability to go to Mississippi State or Cal Poly Pomona, UCLA, SC, it doesn't really matter, but they have to be eligible to do that. And that's the separator, I think, from most other programs, is we really have a strong emphasis on education, educational support programs, SAT, prep, all those things that are really important. And then the last piece is individual instruction and team instruction, really getting these kids fundamentally sound as early as possible, good coaching, and that's what we really feel that moves the needle along much faster for the young women and the young men that we train.
And I'm sure you're aware of this, Darryl. It was written a big story in USA Today about 4 or 5 years ago. Now, this is not total number, but it's based on per capita. Only Tampa, Florida has produced more Major League Baseball players in the history of Major League Baseball than Cincinnati. And here we are about a tenth the size of a lot of these other cities. So the coaching's here as the years have gone by, and I have no doubt you guys are out there going to have some phenomenal coaches, not only on the field, but like you said, in getting ready for the SAT for all these young people.
Yep, and I think Cincinnati is ripe for this opportunity, and I think even though it's a small community, it's a baseball community. This community has been rooted and is baseball. I mean, they're all about baseball, and so many great players have played here. Some, like you said, great players have come from Cincinnati. So this is going to bear fruit. It's going to bear fruit quickly because they've already been doing academy-like instruction for the last 3 years anyway. So this is going to be fun.
Well, there's a ground ball to short. It'll be a 1-2-3 inning, back-to-back 1-2-3 innings for Logan Ondrusek. Darryl Miller, great to have you in Cincinnati, my friend. Thanks for your time tonight.
Tom, I appreciate it very much.
Great to see you, man.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you.
All the best. Have a great time tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Back with all 30 Major League Baseball teams and all 2014 players get the Retro Button 2 style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console and mobile device. Well, against Devin Mesoraco, he had extra bases taken away back in that 4th inning. And denying the chance the Reds a run was Justin Upton, leaping high into the air before that one reached the wall. John Morrell hot dog play of the game.
James Russell into the ball game. Julio Teheran pinch hit for there in the top of the 7th inning. The former Chicago Cub came over with Emilio Bonifacio.
And ironically, since coming over, there you see his overall numbers, and they look really, really good. That one is lined hard into left. Wet's couple of loud outs for Mesoraco tonight. But Russell, since coming over, they brought him over to get left-handed batters out. And he's not been getting left-handed batters out.
He's gotten right-handers out, but not left-handed. And I think part of that, as any player will tell you, you get traded, all of a sudden you want to dial up your game, prove to your teammates, hey, I belong, I can be this kind of guy for you. Sometimes you just overdo it.
Because we know this guy's a good pitcher.
Yes, he is.
On the way in the inning, and Brian Pena, the batter, turns around to hit right-handed. Reds only have 4 base hits tonight. Julio Teheran, they're getting him out of here with an 8-0 lead. He gives them 6 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball. Does not walk a batter. He did hit a batter and struck out 3. Logan Andrusik did a great job tonight. We had Daryl Miller up here with us and Phil Castellini, and Andrusik works 2 perfect innings tonight. So that's certainly a step in the right direction since being activated off the disabled list. And he worked a perfect inning in the game you may remember last night. Let's check in with our main man standing by from the Riverfront Club. And of course, that would be Mr. Jim Day. Jim, how we looking?
Tell you what, it's been so amazing. The people that I've talked to tonight. I just got off the phone with a gentleman from Billings, Montana,
wow,
who his son is serving overseas in the Marines. We certainly salute his son. Thank you very much for your donation. And I also, before that, was on the phone with Ken Blackwell, the former mayor of Cincinnati, and his wife, Rosa Blackwell, the former superintendent of Cincinnati schools. And they have the Ken and Rosa Blackwell Foundation. And they made a substantial donation and wanted to salute their brother-in-law, Otis Miller, who has a very unique distinction. Was the barber for both Frank Robinson and Oscar Robinson.
You got to be kidding.
No, both of them. And would also like to salute Handy Matthews. You're going to hear more about him tomorrow as far as the Urban Youth Academy goes. But he is the oldest living African-American police officer in Cincinnati. He was a former coach, a baseball coach of the Avondale Eagles back in 1961. They won the city championship, and they'd like to celebrate his life. And the Ken and Rosa Blackwell Foundation donated $6,000.
Wow.
Just got off the phone with him.
Of course, he's a former Ohio State
very much
treasurer.
For your donation.
Yes, and a former Ohio State Secretary of State, Ken Blackwell.
Absolutely. And here's the information. We're giving away those MVP bags. You do not have to donate $6,000, people. $100 donation will get you that MVP bag with all those goodies. We will accept any donation that you would like to give us here tonight at 513-765-7300. You can log on to reds.com/telethon. And we realize these are tough times. There are some people that simply don't have the extra money to spend. And we realize that just your thoughts and maybe some volunteer work at the Urban Youth Academy would go a long, long way. So you don't only have to give money, you can donate your time, which is just as valuable.
You know, one thing people may not remember about Ken Blackwell, he went to Xavier University on a football scholarship. That's back when they had a football team at Xavier. Thank you, Rosa and Ken Blackwell. to tweet your photos using the hashtag #OhioFanPhoto. Here's tonight's fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T. Clay, we thank you very much. You know, one final note, because I was fascinated when I learned about Ken Blackwell, about playing football at Xavier University. He was invited to the Dallas Cowboys training camp after playing at Xavier. He was a linebacker. The Cowboys wanted him to become an offensive lineman, and he said no thanks. So he didn't go to camp for the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? And now look who's on the mound. Apparently everything is A-OK with Aroldis Chapman.
Well, this is a point in time where if everything is fine, he's had 3 days off. You got to get him in a ball game. Save or no save, you got to get him out there and let him get stretched out a little bit. The last thing you want as a closer is to sit more than 3 days. Then your arm starts to tighten up. You get out there and you can't control it. And that was the biggest issue for Chapman in his ball game against the Rockies. 4 batters faced, 4 walks. Facing the heart of this Braves order now.
Freddie Freeman against Aroldis Chapman. First pitch swinging on a fastball at 96 miles per hour is fouled out of play, a strike. The last time Chapman started an 8th inning, you've got to go all the way back to 2012, May the 19th of that year. And that was the day before he became the closer. If I'm not mistaken, that was after a series against the New York Yankees. And the Reds were having all kinds of issues with who was going to close, and were they ultimately going to have Chapman be the closer? Well, of course, he became the closer. Freeman, another, taking a swing at it and hitting triple digits as Chapman's. That's good to see.
I love to watch the big hitters when they face Chapman and have to change their approach so they don't get embarrassed. Choking up, just trying to make contact.
Pretty good job of that by Freeman. This guy's a good player. He's already been to a couple of all-star games, really made his mark 2 years ago and has not slowed down. Going to have over 40 doubles again this season. He'll have anywhere in the neighborhood of 85 to 90 runs batted in when all is said and done. They signed him to the richest contract in the history of the Atlanta Braves in spring training. And he has gone swinging to begin the 8th inning.
Started middle in and just took a right turn.
Told you the Braves would be watching how everything plays out at Wrigley Field today and tonight. You may remember after the Major League Baseball ruling was handed down after what happened a couple of days ago in a 2-0 game, and the rains came down and they didn't get the tarp on the field in time, and then ultimately had to call the game. And the San Francisco Giants said no. And really, they won an appeal that is rarely ever even heard by Major League Baseball. It had been called after 4.5, a completed game. And Major League Baseball said no. You're going to play 9. So they picked it back up today with the Cubs leading 2-0. The Cubs hung on and won that game. by a final score of 2-1. And now in a regularly scheduled night game at Wrigley, they are in the bottom of the third inning. And the Cubs lead the Giants 3-2. Atlanta is very interested in that because conceivably they win this game, they will be even with the Giants for that second wild card spot because of the Giants' loss earlier. Should the Giants lose the game being played right now, Atlanta would be the leader in the wild card.
Game and a half you can make up in one day. Now it's time for our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce, 99 miles an hour. Up around.
Oh, yeah, that's mild. That's not hot for Chapman.
Well, when you've been off for 3 days, I'd say that's pretty solid.
It's a green chili version.
I don't want it real hot.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, we do Cholula for some guys. It's 90, 91. I get it. I mean, that's what they have. Oh, that's nasty right there.
86-mile-an-hour changeup after a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That ought to be illegal. Trying to choke up, shorten up. Hang with them.
1-1 to count. That ball's hit hard, but it'll stay in the ballpark. And Aroldis Chapman, welcome back to the mound. A 1-2-3 8th inning. It's great to see. We're going to check in with Jim Day for the entire bottom of the 8th when we return.
As always here on Fox Sports Ohio, it's presented by Performance Kings Honda. You always get the most expanded Reds highlights on the planet, and you hear reaction from players, etc. And tonight is a very special night because we continue our Reds Community Fun telethon, and that is going all the way through the Reds post-game show. I'm Jim Day, and once again, if you're just joining us, you can get an MVP bag for a donation of $100, a drawstring bag, which is very nice. It's got the Urban Academy branded logo on it, Joe Morgan replica mesh jersey, Louisville Slugger mini bat with a Reds logo on it, a canvas print of a Reds team, your choice of a Billy Hamilton or Homer Bailey bobblehead, and 2 view-level tickets tickets to a future game of your choice. You get a choice between the September 8th game versus St. Louis, the September 24th game versus Milwaukee, or the September 26th game versus Pittsburgh. So all that for a $100 donation. You can call right now, the call center. We're standing by for your call, 513-765-7300. That's 513-765-7300. Or you can log on to reds.com/telethon. And I tell you what, these phones have not stopped ringing tonight. Reds country out there in Cincinnati, around Ohio, the neighboring states. I've heard from someone as far as Billings, Montana tonight. All over the country, Reds fans, you are doing your part. This is going much more better than expected tonight, and it's going to continue through the Reds Live postgame show. It's an expanded edition of the postgame show tonight. So give us a call, and if you want to talk to me, ring us up. I am here for the taking. Let's go back to Tom.
Now, Jim, getting back to some of the other special giveaways, I think it's probably safe to say, although I don't want to say for sure because we never know, but it looks like Rosa and Ken Blackwell will be having breakfast or lunch with Marty Brennaman. Probably safe to say, right?
I think it's safe to say right now that that is the top donation.
All right.
Of $6,000.
All right, but I mean, it could be topped.
It could be topped.
They would be
time.
joining you for lunch.
Indeed. And by the way, the lunch will obviously be on me if we go to lunch.
We were hoping you might think about doing that.
Well, we wanted to just put that in there so you never know in today's world. Indeed, the lunch will be on me for a donation. If you want to go to breakfast or lunch with myself, I would love to be a part of that.
I'm sure that'll be in a drive-through window somewhere. It is 1-2 strikes account on Jack Hanahan, a pinch hitter, and there's a line drive in the center going to be caught. Now, Jim, before I let you go, all seriousness now, right now, who would be the person that's going to dine with you? Do we have any idea of that yet?
Do not have an idea on that. There have been so many donations tonight that they're going to have to filter through that. So I couldn't tell you who that is right now. All I can tell you is please continue to donate. And by the way, we should have said this earlier. A portion of this can be tax deductible. So.
Oh, yeah, that's very important.
Absolutely. So wanted to get that in there. Should have said that much earlier.
Okay. Well, maybe that'll spark some late phone calls. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. As Jim mentioned, this will be going through the end of Reds Live, the post-game version. So for all of you, and again, as Jim brought up earlier, look, there are just some of us out there that whatever money that you have available, if you do have any extra available money, you already have something that's near and dear to your heart. So you're just unable to give any money. Believe me when I tell you, they could use your help in other ways that would be every bit as important as writing a check. There are ways that if you'd like to volunteer some of your time or some of your expertise in a certain area, whatever that might be, I can promise you the Reds Community Fund would love to have you. So pick up the phone and call if you'd like to learn more about that. My guess is the operators answering the phone in that regard tonight are not going to have the information that you might specifically be able to help us with. So you might want to try that back during, the business day. And Charlie Frank's office might be somebody that could steer you more in that direction. But we would appreciate it. You don't just have to have the money. And there's a lot of information at reds.com/academy. The official opening tomorrow. Joe Morgan, Bob Castellini, Phil Castellini, Frank Robinson, the commissioner Bud Selig will all be there tomorrow.
Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Chevy. Visit your tri-state Chevy dealer today. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital. They rank 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's 2014 Best Children's Hospitals.
On the game summary. Started early for the Braves. A solo home run by Andrelton Simmons in the 2nd inning. Then in the 3rd, bases loaded. 2-run single by Justin Upton made it 3-0. Johnson followed with a double to make it 4-0. Gaddis had a sac fly to make it 5-0. And a bases loaded walk, scoring 5 runs in the inning. Holmberg charged with 6 in just 2 2/3. Braves scored a couple of runs on Pedro Villarreal, just brought up from the minor leagues today. And look who's on the mound. Skip Schumacher. First time we've seen a Reds position player pitch in a game this season. The last one to do it, you may remember, was Paul Janisch, former Reds shortstop, who on July the 6th in 2009 pitched in a game at Philadelphia. Fly ball right field, and how about Skip Schumacher?
Swinging 3-0. Evan Gaddis.
Now let me ask you this, because that's an interesting point you make. And baseball has a lot of kind of silly, sort of unwritten, unspoken rules. I mean, some of them are legit.
Silly for some.
That's right.
For all.
Silly for some, not for all. But I mean, some of them are borderline ridiculous. But like one of them that I happen to think is a good one. When you're beating a team 8-0 in the 9th inning, you're not hacking on 3-0.
Well, I think it can work both ways. You got a position player on the mound. Gaddis is thinking, all right, I'm going to swing at the first thing that I see.
And that's what I was getting ready to ask.
And maybe that's what he's doing there. That way you're not taking and making Schumacher throw a bunch of pitches. And,
right. Or walking a bunch of guys.
Yeah, you can look at it in 2 different scenarios.
And that's what I was thinking too, but I wanted to ask you. Tell you what, Schumacher's got some stuff here now. He threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and that clearly was an off-speed pitch at 80 miles an hour.
That was a changeup.
He might make more than one appearance.
How about that?
Well, breaking ball.
Little yellow hammer.
He's having fun out there. He came back at 89 up high, 2-0 on Upton.
It's like Schumacher's done this before.
Yeah, it sure does. Took a little off there, and it's 3-0. Doggone it. Try to get him to 1-2-3 inning. Crowd booing Upton, telling him to swing the bat.
Well, when you're hitting 208 at your 0-2 tonight, you're looking for anything you can get.
But you know what? Standing over there talking to Terry Pendleton, the way this year's gone for that young man, he must feel like he's hit the lottery, because at least he's walked 3 times.
Yeah.
Ramiro Pena, the pinch hitter. 2 perfect innings for left-handed reliever James Russell. We're going to see his old team, the Chicago Cubs, during this homestand. After these 4 games with the Braves, an off day for the Reds on Monday. And then the Battling Cubbies will make their final trip into Cincinnati this summer with a 3-game series starting Tuesday night. Cubs are trying, as we mentioned earlier, for a doubleheader sweep over the San Francisco Giants tonight. And Skip Schumacher. That is his first hitless appearance out of the 4 he has made as a major league pitcher. Well done, Mr. Schumacher.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Take a look at our Miller time moment. Skip Schumacher coming out to pitch a 9th inning. This depleted Reds bullpen took care of Gaddis on a soft liner to right, fly ball to center, took care of the second hitter after a walk. They got the pinch hitter Pena on a ground ball in his 4th major league pitching appearance, a hitless inning for Skip Schumacher. Atta boy.
It's not that easy.
There's a Joey Votto sighting there. Haven't seen him for a while. Of course, he does not travel with the Reds. The Reds generally make it a practice unless it's somebody who's very close to being sent out on a rehab, say a starting pitcher, reliever, whatever the case may be. They do not travel with a team when they go on the road.
You got a couple of guys on the DL there with Sean Marshall and Joey Votto.
Well, we're in the bottom of the 9th inning. Todd Frazier at Tapper to short against a new pitcher, Luis Avilan, who was having such a great year when the Reds saw the Braves early. But obviously, when he started to fall on some hard times, they felt like they needed another left-hander down in that bullpen to get him to their closer, Craig Kimbrell. And so they made the deal to get Russell. Well, we certainly want to thank all of you tonight for all of your help. Believe me, to come on television to sit around and ask people for money is there's a fly ball deep into left field, and that baby is against the wall by Christopher Negron. And so he has a double. I don't know about you, Cowboy. I have been very surprised, as well as Negron played in the absence of Brandon Phillips. I am stunned they have not found anywhere else for him to play for the last number of games.
Well, he can play outfield, even though he has not done that here this year. He can play shortstop. But if you think about it, and you start moving the chips. I mean, the reason he was able to play third base is they would move Frazier to first. And not that that's out of the question.
One account on Jay Bruce. And a ground ball to the shortstop. The runner will advance on to third, but the Reds are down their final out. Let's check in one more time with Jim Day from up in the Riverfront Club. Jimbo?
Tom, let's do our Nissan drive of the night, and we are making our last drive to get rid of some more MVP bags that honors the Urban Youth Academy. You're looking at video of it once again. The ribbon cutting ceremony is tomorrow, 513-765-7300. Reds.com/telethon. $100 donation will get you an MVP bag. And it's our Nissan drive of the night. And by the way, Tom, I got some information for you real quick. For those that want to volunteer out there, log on to reds.com/community. One of the big things they do in the ballpark is called Split the Pot, where they need people to go around and sell basically raffle tickets, which they raise a ton of money doing that. And if you'd also like to volunteer at the Reds Urban Youth Academy, you can go on there and give your information and someone will contact you. It's reds.com/community. That's how you can volunteer your time. And again, that's just as valuable as writing a check.
Indeed. Jim, I don't know if it's even possible because of well, I mean, just limited number of people out there on what kind of money. Oftentimes when you do something like this, people would like to know, how much money has been raised. Any guess right now where we stand?
My guesstimate right now would be over $30,000 just during this time that we have been on the air, which is terrific for what we're doing right here. And again, that money is going to go directly to the youth and the outreach programs of the Reds Community Fund. And again, we're not done. We're continuing through Reds Live postgame, and let's up that total. We can still get it done. I know people are getting home tonight, maybe just tuning in. You can still be a part.
All right, Jim, thank you for everything out there at the Riverfront Club, and thanks to all of those who took the time, volunteered their time to come in and answer phones, and all of you at home. We cannot thank you enough in any form or fashion that you're able to help. And you know what? If you can't help the Reds Community Fund, go help somebody else. And I don't say that, I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way. I sincerely mean that. If there's something that's near and dear to your heart,
I totally agree.
Please go out there and help somebody who will need your help in some other way.
Everybody can help their fellow man.
Or their four-legged friend.
Exactly.
My daughter, her favorite thing to do is to just go over, because all those dogs, you think about all the dogs at SPCA Cincinnati or the cats or whatever. I mean, the dogs need to get outside every day. And you can't just let them go, let them out the door and go running around for a little while.
Not anymore.
So there are a lot of people that go over there, including our daughter Ella, and just take the dogs out on a walk. They have a beautiful park right next to it. And that's the old ball game tonight. Atlanta rolls into town, and they keep on rolling. They've been winning a lot of games lately, and they win big tonight. Reds are shut out for the 11th time this year. The Braves have thrown their 12th shutout of the season in a 8-0 final score. Reds Community Fund will have an update and more coming your way. We have some great features, a chance for you to learn more about what you may consider donating to or for. So check that out. It's right around the corner on Reds Live. 8-0 our final score here tonight.